And we should be going. Let's see what it says. We just go to the offline live stream checklist. Starting. And we are
There it goes.
live.
Yep.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're live once again. It's been a couple weeks. 2 weeks ago we had to delete the video because I fell asleep again, passed out again. Last week we skipped it because Nick was busy in Cambodia. So I guess we're going to start off, and we've got the Truth Messenger back today, which is good. So why don't you start it off, Nick, and with your tales from Cambodia?
Well, I'll make it really quick. If there's is one single word that describes Cambodia or the people of Southeast Asia better than any other, it is definitely the word pig. If there is one sentence that would sum up Southeast Asia as a whole, it would definitely be that life in Southeast Asia is all about the struggle of every single individual to be a bigger pig than everyone else. That would be Southeast Asia, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, it's not romantic as ever people would like it to be. That's
No,
for sure.
it's
No.
it's not the paradise that MGTOW expat likes to paint it. Living in a fucking 200 square foot fucking guest house room with bed bugs and no hot water. It's not fun. Sometimes it sucks, but
Yeah.
I enjoyed myself. It was good, good seeing all my friends, good doing a little bit of traveling. FYI to everybody, do not go on a Chinese fucking airliner. I don't care how cheap it is. And whatever you do, avoid Shanghai Airport. It was a fucking nightmare.
Okay. Hold
All
on.
right.
While you're talking, I was just trying to advertise this show a little bit, but okay.
I didn't get to see Luke though. I did not get to see MGTOW expat. I think he's in Siem Reap. The last time I guess I spoke to him, he's not in Phnom Penh anymore,
Okay.
and I don't really speak to him anymore, so I couldn't tell you.
Well, I actually mentioned to him that you were there, but I guess he was. I don't know. He just never had plans to do anything anyway.
Was he being a dick?
Yeah, kinda.
He's blue pilled. Blue pill. He's a cuck.
Well,
Everyone's a cuck but me.
yeah. Well, look. I want to start off. We got 4 people watching now, and I just wanted to say that this episode's called "Man the Happy Slave," and the reason is because about 3 weeks ago I sent a copy of "The Manipulated Man" by Esther Vila to Nick. I mentioned it, I think, in our talk with John the Other, and I decided to read it again, to go back and read it again, just to kind of get a feeling for what it was and kind of how it made me feel. And yes, it's quite a depressing book. But what I want to do is I want to quickly kind of paraphrase.
Yo.
Yeah, we can hear you, man. I want to
Check him.
Okay, no problem. I just want to paraphrase the last chapter. What is love? So let me just kind of read a few of the lines. It starts off by saying, "Man has been manipulated by women to the point where he cannot live without her, and therefore will do anything she asks of him. He fights for his life and calls it love." Now it goes on to say that women nevertheless, basically she's saying that men are been so manipulated, they think they can't live without women, but the fact is they can. And it's women that in reality are incapable of living without men. So it's kind of a switch. It then goes on to say, as a result of love, man is able to hide his cowardly self-deception behind a smoke screen of sentiment. He's able to make himself believe that his senseless enslavement to women and her hostages is more than an act of honor. It has higher purpose. He is entirely happy in his role as a slave and has arrived at the goal he has so long desired. In other words, men from the time they're small boys, and again she goes into detail in this in the book, from the time they're small boys till the time they're adults, they are conditioned to believe that they are in existence to service women and children. Like men are basically disposable, and anybody that's in MGTOW understands these concepts. And there is the very last paragraph here I'll read. It's very sad. It says, "Only women can break this vicious cycle of man's manipulation and exploitation, but she will not do it. There is absolutely no compelling reason why she should. It is useless to appeal to her feelings, for she is callous and knows no pity. And Truth Messenger knows this firsthand. And so the world will go on, sinking deeper and deeper into this morass of kitsch, barbarism, and inanity called femininity. And man, that wonderful dreamer will never awaken from his dream. Right? Pretty depressing, right? But it's spot on. And the reason I wanted to go over this quickly is I just wanted to, as I read the book for the second time, a flood of memories came back to me that I experienced from the first time I read the book. And these are memories from when I was a young boy, maybe my son's age now, maybe 12, 13. But when you start to hit that age in middle school, when puberty starts kicking in, the world, I remember seeing the world around me and being groomed to be this sort of disposable male. I didn't understand what that meant at the time, but I could feel it. And I remember despising it. I hated that feeling. I remember thinking as a kid, it came back to me very clearly when I reread this. I remember thinking as a kid, I don't want to do that. Why do I have to fucking sacrifice my time and energy while the woman gets to sit on her ass and do jack shit? I remember thinking that. Now, my experience might have been a little bit more heightened because I grew up in a very religious town. So there might have been more conservative values around me at the time than maybe an average person. But I remember despising what society was grooming me to become. I don't know if any of you guys have had that experience.
My thing is kind of goes back to being around my aunts, my mother, my grandmother, where I guess it's more of an Italian thing. You're being like a mama's boy, so to speak. So no one's good enough for my son is kind of what maybe my conditioning was. And
that's called narcissism.
Yeah, so I grew up. Yeah, it's a very Italian American culture is very deep rooted in misogyny. I guess quote unquote, yeah, misogyny, where the guy is a little bit more important than the women in some aspects.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it's what are you doing for me? What am I getting out of this relationship being with you is a little bit more where I'm coming from.
Yeah, and I remember the thing is this, like I said, this reading brought back these memories. I remember despising what I was being groomed to become, but I didn't understand it. It's sort of like the feeling was despair. Like I really feel it. Like I really remember it. It was a feeling of despair.
Well, you're looking for attention. You want the other sex to acknowledge your presence, which they fucking don't, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, and it's not just that. It's also just the fact that I knew there was this feeling of dread. Like, oh my God, I have to be responsible. I'm the one that's going to take the bullet. I don't want that. I don't want that shit. But then,
well, you play war. Did you play war when you were a kid?
Oh, of course, everybody did.
Right, exactly. What is when you're playing war? What are you? You're being disposable. Mm-hmm. You're the one pretending to get shot, laying on your in your backyard on the grass, pretending to play dead. Mm-hmm. So it goes back. I guess it's like primordial in some aspects.
Oh yeah, it's definitely biological. I mean, again, that goes back to just the differences between men and women and body strength. It's that simple. I mean, our evolution biologically dictates that men be the disposable one. It's always been that way. I mean, it doesn't have to be that way anymore, though. That's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know, but
women are, one is not born a woman, but becomes a woman. Yeah. So a woman, whatever her inclination is growing up, if she's taught to like the color pink, if she's taught to go get a manicure and a pedicure, that's what she's going to do. If she's told that she has to go out and fight and so on and so forth, she's going to be conditioned to do whatever it is she was brought up to be to doing.
Yeah. And again, like there's if you go into the kind of whole nature nurture thing a lot of the time too, because in society we do hand out roles to men and women because men. In order for our society to continue to function as it has, in order for it to continue to function as it has, and it seems to me that a lot of people like how it functions, how the West is functioning at the moment, but in order for it to continue to function as it has, men must continue to accept the role of disposable male. They have to be the one, they have to be the shield, they have to take the bullet. their backs have to build civilization for everyone else, and that's it. It has to continue that. If they want, if the populace want the society we have today, men have to be trained. They have to be trained to be disposable from a very young age. And now it's a machine. It's an absolute machine, and we grow up in it. So, I mean, in a sense,
we can't. If men are not getting laid, if men are not getting married, the things that are supposed to be built, the ingenuity, the new technology, things like that.
Hello?
These things, if they're not getting anything back.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. There has to be, men are biologically engineered to be the shield in a stable cultural society. But the thing is that there is no return for men. You see, I know you and I.
Right. Sorry if I broke up. That's exactly what I said.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I missed a bit of what you said, but there's no return for them, right?
Sorry.
I mean, so I know you and I, we joke a little bit sometimes about us being for Sharia, pro Sharia, right? And it's funny because if you look at older cultures, more conservative cultures, especially religious cultures, and I'll use Islamic cultures as an example, like there's a lot of privilege to being a man. If you're willing to be a human shield, you get a lot in return. All right. For example, a man as a witness it takes 2 women to have the value of 1 man as a witness. When it comes to inheritance, a man gets the lion's share all the time. Men and boys get the lion's share of inheritance all the time. I mean, there's so many advantages. There's sort of a trade-off that makes it worth your disposability. But that doesn't exist in Western culture anymore. There is no trade-off. In fact, I mean, we went over it with John the Other with the whole Me Too movement. There is a very directed assault on men and their lives. It's horrible.
It's wonderful, or else we wouldn't be here.
How have you been doing anyway, Truth?
Like I've never even talked about Sharia law to anyone. I mean, but I know all about that shit. And like, just because I was raised by women, I'm like, oh man, sounds pretty harsh over there. But then, what you just explained, going back, if you go back thousands of years, when they're, before things were written down, there was still men and boys and girls were all taught by example. Someone was leading by example, so that was the man. And if you start there, and the man understood what he was going out to do when he left his hut or he left his castle or wherever he left.
Yeah.
He left behind the woman and the children, and these people weren't chasing him or being forced to go with him as he goes out to war or goes out on a conquest or just to look for some fucking food.
Yeah.
I mean, so the trade-off was a natural trade-off, and it worked. Like, everything used to work.
Yes.
It's only when I don't know how long it's been since I'm not sure how long it's been, or it's obviously when we created all these states and stuff, and but then there was always separation by distance and by township and by city way back in the days. So I'm not sure when it started. When you have to call it the earliest feminism, even though there's just human beings out there that don't want to do the same amount of natural work or natural putting their lives on the line every day. Mm-hmm. That men these days don't even really think about. Like, we still don't think about it.
No.
If you have depending on the kind of job you have, there's lots of danger jobs out there.
Oh yeah, well, what is it? 98% of mortality rates at work are men. Women don't die at work, man, because they don't fucking do dangerous jobs. It's completely out of proportion. But like,
you can't talk about that. That's just like what you said. Sharia law. Get back to that for a second. Mm-hmm. Try talking about that. Going just around any women in a coffee shop that might know what's going. Try bringing that up. That's harsher than bringing up anything else.
Yeah.
And it's like, why can't you just mention it or bring it up? You're not saying, listen, I'm going to live this way and start stoning my women and all this other all this other stuff. Yeah. But you can't even fucking try mentioning that. That's when it gets really tricky for any kind of conversation. I don't care what it is. If someone shuts you down or instantly starts attacking you for talking about something because they've been socially sucked in by the fucking TV or by the hearsay or the opinion of the woman on their left or the woman on their right, that's not, opinion is gone. Like having an opinion. I think that's why we all come on YouTube now, so we can have fucking opinions, man.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and like I said, going back, when I say the man is the happy slave, it doesn't matter if you talk about a
Well,
true.
the opinion becomes emotional.
Yeah, it does. It doesn't. It's not based in any kind of factual reality. It's emotional. But I mean, if we talk about the man, the happy slave, even in the old days, I'll call it the
Yeah,
old days, with the patriarch. The real meaning of the patriarch was man as the head of a household. That's it. That's the real definition. It's been turned into a fucking feminist boogeyman. But what it really means is that man was the head of the household. So even within the patriarch, man was sort of still was a happy slave. But it would be harder to call him a slave because he got something in return for the effort he put in. I mean, he was more like an employee. He was paid in certain benefits for doing the job of what he still does today, but with no benefit. So today, man has gone from a paid employee to a fucking slave, and they're conditioned to be happy about it. And if you go,
that's the nasty part, is the conditioning. That's what should be talked about. That's what should be taught at universities, all across the fucking globe right now.
Yeah.
Period. Is that?
Well, good luck with
just
that.
one simple thing.
Yeah.
Well, no, I understand, because there's no professors sneaking in there to give these kind of lessons. They're all on fucking YouTube.
Yeah. Well, and another thing, like I was saying. Well, let me just mention one more thing about the kind of.
Sorry, guys. I don't know if my connection is. Can you guys hear me okay right now?
Now we
can you guys hear me?
Now we can. You were
It's
cutting
kind
out.
of it's a little bit robotic, but you're going in and out.
Good now. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. So I was just gonna say, like I gave the example of how in Islamic, in Quranic culture, a man's testimony is worth two women's, right? When it comes to when it comes to inheritance, a man gets the lion's share, like 4 times that what a woman is supposed to get. And there's a lot of other examples, sort of in older culture. They are given the full say and authority of a household. They have the final word in a household. I mean, there's a lot of benefits. There were certain, like again, he was like a paid employee. He had a job to do, but he had benefits. So.
Well, repeating what I said earlier before I broke up, is that if men don't have a vested interest in their society as far as the ingenuity, the technology, and pretty much the progressing of whatever it might be, the country that you're in, if men don't have a vested interest, and the vested interest being getting laid and having a family, eventually everything starts to break down. You live off of the fumes of the past.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. Well, the innovation comes when men are allowed to have the authority to be creative. They're given the time and the authority to be creative. I mean, this is where you see culture develop. But nowadays, it's not like that anymore.
Correct, and we're living off the fumes of the kind of a post-industrial society, and the fumes of the brickmanship and the workmanship of post-World War II rebuild.
Yeah, there's a real concerned and focused effort to really tear down the foundation of Western society, which is the backs of men. There's a real effort to do that, and what that does is it's built on lies and hypocrisy, man.
Well, someone's trying to take over the shit, like the boogeyman's trying to take over, and the one thing they don't want, they've been planning this for so long. There's so many of us now, like so many billions of us. What's the best thing to happen to man? To have to fade out, become scared and intimidated, and kind of questioning his first action response of drawing out his sword and stabbing it forward against the oppressor or whatever. Once that gets taken out of the average man around every household across the planet, then there's no longer any worry because women aren't going to step into that role, but
No.
they are above us now and feel more powerful, and they're given all these things, and all the power to them, except
Right?
for
The women expect you to clean up the mess they made, like children.
Absolutely.
yeah, yes, but if the power is taken away from all of us through this indoctrination, which is so slight and so subtle and so heavy at the same time, over decade after decade after decade after century, um, for this end game. It's not just the government, but whatever's going on out there. There's some end game for them, and to control us is the easiest way is to take away this one thing that man naturally does. He reaches back, he grabs his sword, and he's ready for battle. That's his primary instinct to defend his family and to defend himself. But if that's taken away, then we're pushovers, and they're going to have a real easy time. And that's what feminism is doing to men, in my opinion, without them even knowing it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, there is a nature to women, and because if there's a nature to women, if you give them an inch, man, they take a mile, and that's what's happening. I mean, that's what society is doing. It's giving women plenty of inches, and their nature is like it says from that last chapter in the book, man. It's like, she has no reason to stop what she's doing. Nothing. There's no reason for women to stand up and go, you know what? Let's give men their power back. There's no reason for her to do that. So
It comes back when there's an external threat, or there's a scarcity of something that is a need, such as shelter and food, or again, you're being threatened with your life.
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
And
Well,
you don't have to worry about any of the three for the past, I guess, 60, 70 years for Western society. Since World War II, again, since Nazi Germany and Japanese imperialism were the last two serious threats for North America. And mind you, neither of those two nations got even close to North America.
yeah. Well,
And again, we look at Europe. Europe is a different situation where the U.S. and England defeated Nazi Germany and were able to indoctrinate. Denazification of Germany led to Western Europe's problem.
yeah. Oh, MGTOW Warriors asking in the chats, is this a no broads, no trannies chat? No, I don't want women here, and I don't really want trannies either. Depends, but no, I don't want them. They got their own shit. They can hang out on their own in their own.
It's too late.
chat.
Too late, brother. I snuck in. I am both a woman and a transgender.
A woman and a transgender.
I've snuck in. I've infiltrated your chat, brother.
Oh,
It's me.
when did you change?
It's me, Jeremy.
But yeah, no women for sure. Definitely no women. No trans either. We don't need that shit. But anyway, if they get into the chat and then if a woman gets into the chat, I'll fucking kick her out. If she can hide without me knowing, then good for her. Whatever. Anyway. But anyway, where were we?
We were just discussing why the lack of external threats has helped manifest this infection, this malignant cancer within Western values and society.
Mm. Well, you mentioned wars. I mean, wars. It's kind of sad. Like a war would immediately bring back the patriarch, but at the cost of millions of men's lives.
But again, my dick needs to be in a female's mouth in order to get me to move.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Well, I'm bringing it down to a very basic Neanderthal-like level to get the point across.
Yeah. I mean,
I was debating a 22-year-old wannabe leftist actually last night. And she was in support of Bernie Sanders. She's relatively intelligent about, politics and stuff. But again, wanted to go left with every conversation. And I tried explaining to her. I go, you need me to do these things for you. You do know that. And I'm showing her my kitchen. I go, all this in my kitchen has been brought to you by man and capitalism. You want to undo all these things in this kitchen, right? And the bottom of her argument was, well, it should be, I wish it was, it could be. I go, woulda, shoulda, coulda, but it's not. This is not reality. And then she kind of rolled her eyes and she goes, well, we'll just have to agree to disagree. I go, no, 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 no. This is no, 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 no. What I'm giving you is 1+1=2, not 1+1 = Bernie Sanders and candy canes. Okay, so I kind of stopped the conversation there because I just met the girl and stuff. But you understand the mindset is that they're dreaming. It's a fantasy coming from people that go with leftist type views, whether it be feminists or guys who are white knighted and follow women that vote left to try to gain access to non-reproductive vagina, right? I mean, that's it. It is what it is.
See, that's the problem with just another war, and
Yeah.
like having any kind of a war. It's already happens to you for people in the military and shit already. Just going away for a year, going away for this long, doing stuff, leaving their family back behind, But when you have a war, let's say 30,000 men, boom, they're gone from fucking Canada and the States. Another 30,000 men. Let's say 22,000 of those men had a family, one kid or a couple kids. Well, what happens? The white knights come out of the fucking woodwork right after, right after the war, during the war, after the war, and it starts the whole cycle over again.
Yeah.
Families being raised by other men that don't have their own families, or who knows, that complication or whatever. There's so many levels to MGTOW, let alone levels to the shit we're trying to decipher all the time and figure out every day. Because I'm tired of being a happy slave. I haven't been a happy slave out of high school. Like, I'm 44 now. When I was out of high school, I started thinking differently. I didn't quite understand why, but I started everything that goes in my head in my life now and comes out through me physically and emotionally is basically the resistance. I'm resisting. There's so much shit to resist just to try and maintain my own consciousness and my own thoughts and my own values just for me without being selfish. It's being pulled everywhere, and it's so hard to just not be consumed by it all. So I'm a happy slave, and I'm forced to be, because most men won't admit to being a slave still. My paycheck proves I'm not a slave. If you make great money, whatever, so what? Who cares? You're still a fucking slave, because your natural instincts is not to go and build somebody else's skyscraper. Your natural instinct is not to go and do this for somebody else, unless it's love or you're doing it for yourself. That's the natural instinct of a human being. You react to what you're wanting to go towards, not what you're, and that it's a weird breakdown of society that's taken so long, and we're all caught up in it, man. So
well, you mentioned working for yourself. Now, a little bit off topic. Let's say, again, I was just in Cambodia the past 2 weeks. I realized that, okay, I can't really move here now at my age, but what I can do is work towards moving back to Asia. And I'm sitting and watching videos with my a friend of mine, and as we're sitting down talking, he's showing me documentaries and watching some newsreels, and the U.S. dollar is in a complete free for all. And he turns to me and goes, "You might not even work. You can't even save anymore. There's a war on savers now. So if I'm trying to save for my future, for my retirement, so I don't have to work till I'm 75, 80 years old, it might not be there."
Yeah.
It might not be there at this point. So you working for yourself at this point in time, there's an outright war against you for working for yourself and working towards the betterment of your future.
Well, one reason is because they know, like the entire movement of feminism, this sort of Marxist movement of feminism, it's a death knell for the population. Nobody's reproducing. Who the fuck's gonna do the work?
Right.
So
Again, and that goes back to men not having a vested interest in the betterment of society. And I'm sorry if I interrupted you there, but I've been trying to figure out the correct terminology or figure of speech for our live stream. And you know how I don't know what it's like where you live, but there's no trash in your streets, is there?
where? In
Where you
Canada?
live, is there garbage? Yeah, is there garbage in your city around?
There's more garbage if you kind of go into the areas where there's a lot of immigrants. There's
Oh,
more.
you mean where Cabin Boy lives?
Well,
All right. Well,
Captain
what I'm
Boy.
trying to get,
Uh,
yeah, what I'm trying to get at is there's no garbage in the streets because people care about the environment. And what happens is, and the same thing with people not getting married is, it's just me who's throwing this styrofoam container in the street. I'm just one person throwing this garbage in the street. What's the big deal if I'm the only one doing it? Okay, so you started doing it. Now someone else says, it's just me who's throwing this garbage into the street now. What's the big deal? And it starts a snowball effect where, you know what, now everyone's throwing their trash in the street and now there's garbage all over the place. And it's very hard to undo, to clean up the mess, so to speak.
yeah, absolutely. There, but I don't know. These days, there's not enough. MGTOW, somebody in the comments said it's kind of scary to think MGTOW even exists. And in a way, yeah, it is, because MGTOW is a reaction. It's a reaction by men because they realized I'm no longer an employee with benefits. I'm a fucking slave. They wake up out of it and they go, okay, this is a game that I can't win. I'm going to walk away, right? So people aren't reproducing in the West. It's becoming, they're replacing the population with immigrants. They're desperately trying to replace the population with immigrants. And they're making people work till they die.
Right. That goes back to the war on savers with the dollar and anybody that has some type of like a mutual fund, index fund. If you're just trying to save money, it's pretty much futile at the moment. I mean, I'm hoping it's going to fix itself, but since Trump has taken office, it's actually getting much worse as far as the inflation rate goes.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty bad here too, man. It's pretty bad. I mean, we've got.
Well, it's global. It's global. This is not the whole economic situation is not just for Europe and Western civilization. It's going over to Asia also, especially in China. But again, if you got to keep working to keep your head above water, and again, women are racking up credit card bills, Starbucks, fusion dinners and sushi. They don't care. Women don't care because again, hypergamy floats.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. They can weather out the storm pretty easily because
Right.
there's always some guy that's going to pick her up, clean up
Right.
her mess. That's what they're trained to do. So.
Absolutely. Again, we talk about bettering ourselves, you as a man going your own way. And now I've realized, you know what, after what my friends have told me, save all your money, be, if you can, I'm going to say milk your parents for what they got, but you try to gain resources, use your friends in order to better yourself, in order to gain more capital, so you don't have to work and then you can retire and do
Yes.
something better when you're
Yeah.
whatever it is about you, again, moving back to Indonesia, moving back to Cambodia, maybe moving to Africa, whatever, go
Yeah.
living on the West Coast, or a condo on in California. But if they're depriving you of even that,
Yeah.
the powers that be, the deep state, Illuminati, whatever you want to call it, you're in a lot of trouble because now everything you fucking love is under attack. Oh, you like the band, whatever. You like Green Day? Well, guess what? They're calling you a fascist Trump supporter. Oh, you like Star Wars? Well, fuck Star Wars. The Force is now feminine. Okay, you like football? Guess what? We're gonna put
That's funny.
leftist
I
indoctrination
agree.
into football now too. So everything you do, everything you love, is under complete fucking attack, and you're doing nothing about it. You going your own way, but everything you touch, everything that's around you, is now infected with
Yeah.
this cancer, this malignancy.
Yeah.
It's a major, major problem.
Oh yeah. I agree, man.
So what are you gonna do about it?
I'm walking. I'm gonna watch it burn.
I knew you were gonna say that.
I'm gonna watch it burn, man. Fuck it. Like the best. All for men that are going their own way. You're the things that will get in your way is if you reproduce, you're gonna have a real hard time doing that. All right, but reproduction is key to solving the problem. But the juice is not worth the squeeze, as Barbarossa used to say. The juice is not worth the
Oh, okay.
squeeze.
Well, Wait, slow up though. Hold on. Let's look at it from a third world perspective about reproducing. You're a single father. Why can't you, for instance, teach your son to do the right thing,
That's
point them in the right direction,
absolutely.
show him where the water stream is. This way, he makes a lot of money for you, and you can live off of his ass like they do in most third world
What
countries.
do you think I'm doing? Of course I'm going to do that.
Oh, good. All right. I'm hoping you're doing
Absolutely,
that.
absolutely. And I mean, this is the thing. Like when I when I had my kid, I was married. I wasn't red pilled. I wasn't MGTOW. I had no idea what that was. Um, so I had no real clue. But now that I am, and I'm fortunate enough to have my kid, of course, man, I'm going to make sure by the time he's old enough to understand these concepts that he knows it back to front, left to right. He knows it all. Like, look, this is how women are going to treat you. This is what they think about you. This is how you got to deal with it. This is what your priorities need to be in life if you ever want to be happy, etc., etc. I mean, he'll understand. But for the average person, going out and getting a woman pregnant to have a kid, the risks are just too great. Like your life could be destroyed. You could end up dead. There's a very good chance you could end up dead, and by your own hand, based on statistics. So I wouldn't recommend that. But I think for a
All
lot
right.
of
The question in the comments is from Rico. The big question is: should we help blue pillars, or should MGTOW try and stay in the shadows? Blue pillars have to be red pilled on their own. There's
yeah,
not much else you can do. Something bad has to happen to them
yeah,
in order for them to be red pilled.
yeah. MGTOW doesn't translate very good to proselytizing. It just doesn't. It's not. You're not selling the happy religion of Jesus Christ to people. You're waking them up to a fucking nightmare. So it doesn't fit well to proselytize MGTOW. It doesn't work. It's pointless. You waste your time trying to. Um, if it comes up in casual conversation and you want to touch on it on certain points, go ahead. But you're not going to convert anybody. You're not going to open anybody's eyes. That needs, like Nick said, it
I,
has to happen on their own.
I tend to define blue pill as not so much a guy that's married, but a guy who's a white knight.
Oh yeah,
I think that's more of a
yeah,
blue pill type of individual. And also a lot of guys who chase women, they have their own shortcomings when it comes to women, whether it be a really shitty relationship with their mother,
hmm,
right? Things like that are usually the crux. Someone that had family issues. I read something really good by Sam Vatkin. We've spoken about Sam Vatkin in the past in the previous live stream. Men seek to marry their grandmothers, and women seek to marry a penile version of themselves. And I think that was a very, very well thought out statement by Mr. Vatkin, that men look to marry their grandmothers. Think about it. Who's the last person you want to let down in the entire world? It's grandma,
right.
right? Right.
No,
So
no.
no, it's the
Maybe,
truth. The
maybe,
last person I want to let down is my
maybe in the United,
grandparent.
maybe in the States or maybe in Italy, but not in Canada.
My
Well,
grandma,
you again.
my grandma
So
was
go
kind of
on.
a weirdo.
Well, again, what is a grandmother? It's someone who loves you unconditionally. You can never do wrong. She's always there, supports you 100%. She's, cooks the best food for you. She gives you gifts on Christmas,
That
and
sounds like a storybook. That sounds like a storybook grandmother.
well, that's my It's both my
Right, right. So you got to
grandmothers.
understand it. Every man to your left or to your right has a different grandmother. Period.
Hmm. Yeah,
Right,
they're
but
not all gingerbread houses.
right, I understand that, but in theoretically, not so much theoretically. Again, I'm using my grandparents as the example. I would never want to let my grandmother down, right? Because the last thing I want to do is save face in front of my grandmother. Therefore, men would like to marry someone, a fuckable version of their grandmothers. Women want to marry the penile version themselves. What does that mean? A narcissist, vanity, right? A superficial, low intelligence fucking idiot.
Or and
Yeah.
also it's also somebody looking for the easy, safe route, and whatever else goes along with that, rather than challenging, and going, letting their real feelings take them in the direction that those feelings are taking them towards, whoever they're taking them towards, no matter what anyone's opinion is. There's so many dynamics of accepted relationships within families, accepted relationships between between people, like whether it's colored people, and us, women, men, even our pets. Like some people get looked down upon because they got pit bulls rather than a poodle. It's like, and
Both are horrible. Sorry if you have a pit bull.
no, I don't. I'm just saying,
Good
like,
man.
it doesn't
Good.
matter what the angle is. There's always this thing there, and Peter Pan knows best. I that's my favorite folk hero of all time is Peter Pan, man. He fucking knows.
Yeah, that's sort of the what they call that's an insult actually by feminists to men. They call men that don't grow up Peter Pans.
They call them, yeah, but it's bullshit.
It's
They're
well, it's
fucking
bullshit.
Well, what do
legends.
you mean not growing up? And that's Jordan Peterson again. He's his latest interview while I was gone. I don't know if you guys saw that one where he's debating that woman in
Yeah.
England. Did you guys see that?
Yeah, and he kicked their ass, and yeah, I saw that.
He crushed her. I mean, it was brilliant. But the first opening lines was, "Oh, you want men to grow up? Can you explain that to me?" Now he kind of dog whistled. I don't know if anybody else caught that, and I know what he's discussing. But to the average person who didn't catch the dog whistle, he's saying that you're immature and it's men's problems for the plights of the world. He does not. He completely ignores the women problem.
Yeah. Well, Jordan Peterson's another creature altogether. He's certainly not. He's certainly not MGTOW, that's for sure. He's a smart guy.
Okay, I just want to mention something out of the chat here. MGTOW warrior. I mean, this is a nice quote. It says, "Many blue pillars are cooter whipped and will stab you in the back to get a smile out of a broad."
Absolutely.
That is the truth. I've dealt with that, but it never affected me. Like I never all of a sudden looked at my woman or looked, and started crying because this guy's hitting on her or whatever. I see white knights in a heartbeat, man. Like I see where they come from. I see why they do what they do. And instead of getting angry, I used to get angry, but instead of getting angry and being like, "What?" Now I just kind of fucking giggle, and I'm like, "Well, welcome to your decision."
Yeah.
Because you're not going to get any relevant love or relevant respect or relevant integrity out of chasing or trying to make first of all, you're chasing a woman that might be taken already, but you're also embarrassing yourself in front of other men. But those men are so advanced now. I would like to call them MGTOW people. They should be more advanced. All you did was
We're progressive.
you just leveled up a bit. You leveled up.
Well, that's the thing.
Empathy. Sorry, it sounds like most MGTOW guys don't have empathy, but the reality is they have tons of empathy.
Tons. Well, this is the thing I was going to say is that what can be more maturing than walking away from happy servitude? Seriously, what can be more maturing than that? I mean,
you get to sit there. Yeah, you get to sit there and rationalize if you're smart enough. And
absolutely.
Go, holy shit.
Absolutely. I think.
What am I actually doing there? Like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
MGTOW are some of the most mature people you'll ever meet. I swear. Because you're walking away from this sort of happy servitude. What could be more mature than that? All right. I mean, it's a child.
Being rational. You're being rational.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're being emotionally mature.
With every relationship, though, let's just for 1 second, like instead of like the woman-man thing and whatever and this and that, literally MGTOW. I mean, as far as I can see, what's going on. There's lots of variants, but the constant should be basically accepting only what you want to accept for yourself, something that brings a smile to your face, something that makes you feel good, feel confident, feel intelligent, all that stuff. And also being aware enough to educate yourself by actually opening your eyes and watching all the people around you, people you love, people you despise, people you respect, people you don't respect, and seeing the kind of actions like psychological actions and whatever that they're doing in their life that affects you. And then like you get to choose who you love and who you hang around, whether it's a male friend or a child or anybody. You get to choose who you hang around. And MGTOW, there's a few guys out there that have some good channels that talk about the reality of like, it's like really being single. Like you got to separate yourself from everything and realize, hey, this life is pretty good. This is my life and it's good for me. And I'm, all these decisions are great. I'm supposedly happy now.
Yeah.
It's So
A lot of
it's
men
tough to
don't.
do though.
A lot of men don't know what real happiness is, man, because
It's tough, man.
yeah, well, their happiness is almost always measured through the experiences of other people. And
Grandma,
yeah,
child, your
yeah,
pet, yeah,
your
everything, everybody.
the people you take care of, your job, the people you work for. Your happiness is measured through other people's approval of you. And I mean, this goes back to when you're a little boy. And the worst thing for men is shame, especially men. A lot of men cannot handle criticism by women. They can't handle cold, hard criticism or shame by a woman. And again, this is kind of going back into how you're conditioned as a boy, to be the happy slave. I mean, it's real. It's not hard for women to just join hands, point the finger, and shame a man back into servitude. And that's their go-to tactic all the time.
My dick needs to be in your mouth.
Yeah.
That's it for me. For me, I'm not MGTOW to the point where I'm going to be a monk staring at the wall. Let me
No,
reiterate that.
I don't
Okay.
think any man, no man is. The only MGTOW that's actually doing that is the actual monk. That
No,
like,
but I do. I think a lot of MGTOW is completely against. Is more of a celibacy. I
okay,
see that more.
No,
See
no,
that more in
no,
MGTOW.
no, definitely not. I mean, I mean, if you're MGTOW, you're going to find yourself in a world where you're probably going to learn to be a lot more celibate. I mean, because like
Yeah. Yeah.
you're
True.
gonna,
Hmm.
and it's something, and this is, it's a beautiful thing actually. I mean, some of the brightest minds that ever existed in recorded history were single men who never
Oh, here
fucking
we go.
reproduced,
Tesla.
never married. Some of the
What about
greatest
the Taj
artists.
Mahal though? AM. What about the Taj Mahal, dude?
What the guy? The story
He,
is that he engineered it for a woman.
yeah, he did it for his wife.
That's the popular story. I don't know
right,
if I believe it though. I
right.
mean,
It
All right,
doesn't
but
matter.
I
It doesn't
there's
matter
a lot of
who.
great things that have been done on behalf of women. Again, I mentioned
Yeah,
Green
yeah.
Day before. The guy from Billy Joel Armstrong, he's been with the same woman for like 30 years, and a lot of his songs he dedicates to his wife. She great. They were together prior to him being a multi
who
millionaire, and
who?
the Green Day, the
Oh,
singer of Green Day.
I
They were
would.
together when he was still doing meth and banging, banging broads and banging groupies. She always stuck around, and he
Well,
kind of
she knew.
dedicates a lot of his songs.
She must have had faith that he was going to have enough money, and maybe he
She
supplied her
did.
with
She had
drugs.
faith. She knew this guy's gonna somehow pull it off. And that song, "When I Come Around," it's about how no matter what, I may screw up, I may do a lot of stupid shit, but I'm gonna wind up coming back to you at some point or another. That was when they were just dating before they were married. He wrote that song.
Well,
But
first
that's
of
the
all,
chance.
I
That's the chance.
understand. I understand that it's stupid. It's lovey dovey. I get it. But
I don't
That's
think.
that's the chance. That's the chance. Any artist or any soldier or anyone that goes out and explores and does things and leaves a mark somewhere out in society that's not like working for the man and working for yourself, like actually going out and being that person. So you're gonna have women and men throwing themselves at you if you're even mildly popular. Like if there's 50 people at your show, and like because I play music too, if there's 50 people at your show, let's just say, and all of a
that's a
sudden,
lot.
no, but 30 of them, they're like thinking weird thoughts about your songwriting and your lyrics, and they're like falling in love or they're hating you or whatever they're doing. You have to deal with that. Your partner that's at home, unless they're an artist too, it comes out with you. Because I have quite a few friends that a man and a woman are both in a relationship, and they're both like musicians, and they both go out and do this stuff, and they're not fucking everybody. But the assumption is that you go out there and you'll be like, you got to write songs like that because you can't help but being adored and all that energy, and then you're like with someone that you're not dating, and there's all this weird shit that goes along with the psychology of success.
Well,
So
I would
a
dare to
woman,
say,
a,
I
a
would just
woman that, yeah,
let me just quickly interrupt, Jeremy. I would dare to say that a person that's writing music, kind of out of an emotional, immature kind of feeling for a woman, it's a lower standard, man. I mean, it's not the quality's not going to be as good. It's just not going to be as good. I would argue that. I mean,
no, I didn't say anything about writing about a love song being like the whatever. I was talking about the sex thing, like being in going out and like cheating on your old lady because you're because you go and play shows. Like I know tons of people who, it's like, what kind of excuse is that? And then she's like, I'll stick with you until the end. It's like, okay, well, how many stinkholes are you gonna let him fuck just so you can get some of his money 10 years later when he becomes famous or something? It's like that doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, and not only that, but that's obviously evidence that she didn't fucking love the guy. She just loved his
Well, no, of
potential
course
to
not.
work for her.
But he wanted someone stable at home to come home to. So obviously, so when you come off the road, you can't bring all these other bitches with you. So you want to, you want to come home to somebody. And that's only if you're a cheater. If you're one of those, there's not everyone's a cheater. Some people will never cheat, you know.
Well, like going back to about a man's capacity.
The happy slave.
Well, going back to his capacity, if you got a woman with she's got one hand on your dick and the other in your wallet, you're gonna have very little time to be creative. You're just not gonna really have the time to be creative. I mean, if you shake that loose, suddenly you have all this time and energy to like be creative, engineer new things, come up with new ideas.
Well, that's weird because you know me, and in the last 2 years, I've separated myself from women completely. I haven't even touched, tasted. I don't touch myself. I've actually been like 100% celibate. From after I'm 44 years old, so at 42, I decided naturally I'm not doing it on purpose, but because I don't want to get back with the mom of my kids. I just want my kids, but I'm keeping myself clean until I can solve this issue with my family and my children, from being emotionally involved or physically involved with anybody else for any reason. But I've always had long relationships. I am always had until, I've always had a 5-year relationship, 7 years, and something happens. Now, within that time, as an artist, every single ex-girlfriend I've had in my entire life, not one left me because they're like, oh, all you do is, I mean, outside of working and sometimes not working or whatever you're doing or not doing, I'm always creating. I always find my creative space. I'm recording videos. I'm making music. I'm writing songs. I'm writing them on a pad of paper. I'm going out and experimenting. I'm playing shows. I'm trying to do these things all the time in every single relationship I've ever had. And not once have I ever I mean, the woman's hand is in my wallet, and mine's kind of in her purse sometimes, and vice versa, and whatever. But I've never dated an artist. That was my only problem. I wish I've never dated an actual artist as a woman. So what ends up happening is I get complaints about that. Like, he's always out playing music and doing art. That's like the worst thing they can say about me because I don't beat my women or anything. So they're like, he's always out doing stuff. He creates all the time as if it's a bad thing. So I've always managed to have girlfriends and not let them stifle my creative process. If they can't handle my creative process, then they shouldn't be with me. But I've always had fairly long relationships, so it must be an okay thing to watch a man not just go out every day and be like, I'm home from work, and then you sit down and turn the TV on and start eating some mashed potatoes, and you're like, wash those dishes and then suck my dick.
Ooh, I like
No,
that. Service me, bitch.
yeah. But that happens naturally if you're an artist. Like they'll suck your dick anyway and wash your dishes because you write them fucking beautiful songs and you just write yourself songs. Anyway, weird argument, but I've had different experiences. Of all I'm saying.
Now, we're talking about. I wanted to discuss this a little bit. We're talking about disposable males. Now, to me, a true alpha male is one who is disposable.
Who disposes himself?
Yes, two of my heroes.
That's
one's an athlete. One's a Medal of Honor recipient. And I'll discuss the athlete. He's a NFL running back. He's been retired for I think a decade now. His name's Curtis Martin, who he played for the New England Patriots and the New York Jets. And he kind of stayed under the radar. He never won a Super Bowl. He went to a Super Bowl but lost, and he wound up in the NFL the Football Hall of Fame. And he was disposable in the sense that he never was this not an all-star, but he was never this braggadocious, outgoing superstar. He went in, he did his job, he did it the best he could, and that was it. And he was very humble about how good he was. And he did a very famous Hall of Fame speech where he thanked his thanked his family, he thanked his coaches and stuff. But I remember his last season playing. The doctors told him, "You have a bone on bone knee condition. You have to retire now." And he said, "No, I'm going to get out there. I'm going to do my job." And again, he proved himself to be disposable to the point where he sacrificed his own health to get out there and get the job done on behest of his teammates and the fans.
Mm-hmm.
And I really respected that. I really respected him a lot in regards to that.
That's definitely something I would never do. I'd be like, take your game and shove it. But of course, I don't know. You can call that guy an alpha if you want. I think I would almost call him a simp. Like
what for sacrificing his health?
Yeah, just for other people. Like what does he get in return for it? But again, that's
that's paid millions of dollars. It's the glory.
Yeah.
I'm more of a I'm a big glory person. If you give me $2 million, or if my name could go down in an encyclopedia page, I'm going with the encyclopedia page, man. I'm sorry.
It's called Wikipedia. You can do it now. I can start your Wikipedia tomorrow.
Yeah, but anybody can make. Two of my friends are on Wikipedia. It doesn't count.
I'm just saying, man.
But I use Curtis Martin as a great example. Here's a guy who never got the glory he should have. Mm-hmm. He'll be lost. He'll be a footnote in the sands of time, even though he's ranked, top 5 highest, rushing yards for a running back. Oh. He never got to win a Super Bowl. But he did every season. He did his job, and he went over 1,000 yards for 10 years straight. Not many athletes in the NFL were able to do what he did.
Well, the happy slave, man. I mean,
hold on. This guy is a paid athlete, and it wasn't in like 1911 or something football, or 1923 football.
No, it was 20 years ago.
Yeah, so I mean, you can't have too much empathy for, whatever he was doing. He had options to just stop everything, go MGTOW, take his millions of dollars, and fucking go do the dance for himself.
Yeah, but that's what separates someone who's successful versus someone who's not. Okay, is that he got out there, he did it every fucking day. He did his job every day.
Well, that's the prize that the happy slave gets. He gets a trophy. Go stand in the line of fire, get killed, and we'll put a trophy up you and weep over you. Yes, you'll be remembered forever as the guy that died. That's kind of the.
Well, all you have to look at with sports. I don't talk about sports or politics once in a fucking 18 blue moons. I'll talk about sports or politics. But if you want to just analyze sports down to its bare basics, like we'll go right back to gladiator days, which is now happening again with the UFC and stuff. And check out all the human beings paying attention to, showing up for, watching two men, and now women. Now, this is the weird thing about the feminism or the equality. There's now women beating the shit out of each other on paid TV, and people are watching and sucking this shit up and just choking on their chicken, getting off on this shit, and loving the fact that we've gone back to the brutal reality where boxing is almost irrelevant because there's not enough blood. I find that
right now you got to do UFC, and you need women to be beating each other now. It's like pornography.
I find that kind of scary. I find that kind of scary. But compared to the football guy you were talking about, it's like the reason these athletes will put themselves in this situation, they always have, is because of the glory and the accolades they receive from others. It becomes addictive, like heroin.
Well, we acknowledge what he did was remarkable. And again, we don't have to talk about athletes. We can talk about Medal of Honor recipients. What is the Medal of Honor? You went above beyond the call of duty, and you sacrificed yourself for your fellow brethren. My favorite's Randy Shigart. Randy Shigart was a Delta sniper. Okay, Delta sniper means he's above a Navy SEAL sniper.
Which means he is also an athlete. Yet you don't think going out and doing that kind of shit is athletic? Come on.
Well, yes, it's athletic, but you're doing it for a quote unquote for your nation. And Randy Shigart was portrayed in the movie Black Hawk Down. He was the sniper who received the Medal of Honor. And him and his teammate Gary Gordon asked the general, me and him want to go in and secure the crash site. And the general said, absolutely not. because you're going to get killed, right? And then he asked again, we want to go in, we want to secure the crash site. And the general was like, you know what you're asking for? You do know if you're in trouble, we cannot help you. And they're like, no, we're going to do it. We're going to sacrifice ourselves to save those guys in the down chopper. Now both of the snipers died because they ran out of ammunition. And when the father of Randy Shigart was being presented the Medal of Honor from Bill Clinton, he didn't shake Bill Clinton's hand and told Bill Clinton, "You're a disgrace to the presidency," and walked off stage in front of Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton to this day says the biggest and most embarrassing moment of his presidency was that moment. It wasn't Monica Lewinsky. It wasn't the situation in Kosovo. It wasn't even giving $2 billion to North Korea to develop their nuclear arsenal. It was when Randy Shigart's father walked off stage and said, "You're a disgrace to this presidency. I don't know how you got this far to be in this office."
Well, we know how he got that far, but I know.
Well, I understand that, but Bill Clinton, acknowledged that the greatest fuck up, one of the biggest fuck ups of my presidency was the situation in Somalia. That my son had to die for something that was completely irrelevant. What the hell we were doing in Somalia in the first place,
Mm-hmm.
So let's agree that including Clinton and the sniper, and the football player and the UFC guys and ourselves, we're the happy slaves. Like, I mean, we're doing these things against our own free will, really, because free will does not push you towards somebody else's fucking goal, somebody else's need of you or whatever. So that's the real that should be the MGTOW goes deep. But
I respect that. I respect that those guys did those great things.
Well, you have to
and made the sacrifice.
You have to respect it. There has to be some sort of at least cavalcade. There has to be pomp and circumstance around it. Otherwise, men, what else are they going to get out of it? I mean, there's like I said, in the old days, maybe men were more like an employee, that had benefits for any kind of sacrifices they made. But now there really isn't much, and you have to have that pomp and circumstance. People have to go, you know what, I respect that man laying 6 feet in the ground because he died for whatever cause, for whatever greater cause, and so you have to have it. You have to have that, or it's not gonna, or it won't function. And I don't know. I'm just like, that's the kind of stuff I'm walking away from.
The sacrifice.
Yeah, man.
What about just work? What about just the day in and day grind of working and living?
Well, yeah, there's that. I mean, and the thing is,
that's
like,
the whole point.
We live in a society.
That's the whole point.
Yeah, we live in a society that sets us down with a number of rules we need to follow. And the best you can do is try to eke your way out within those rules. There are people, there's concepts in MGTOW of completely ghosting, just fucking leaving society.
Unless you're a full-time artist or somebody who, that's all I can think of. The only kind of person I can think of, a writer, a painter, a songwriter, that actually doesn't have to live by the 7-day-a-week program. Like, the calendar is the biggest fucking bullshit mistake that we feel pressured by. These 7 days. We're supposed to work 5 of those 7 days or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Get a little bit, the mentality of the calendar is, I hate it. I hate,
of course,
planning. I hate planning. No, but that's the thing. That's where it starts. Before any of this other shit, it's our women and men look at that calendar and they think, oh, what am I supposed to do with these time blocks? This allotted amount of time I have to do things, when really the human calendar has no time. The human being should not be referenced through any moments of being forced to think that you need to pre-plan anything.
Well,
that's not how human beings work.
There's a great part in Esther Wheeler's book, The Manipulated Man, that talks exactly about that.
There you go.
She mentions exactly, men are put into these. If a man was given the ability to do what he could do best and creatively, and using his creativity to the maximum ability, he's not going to be he's not going to be doing a 9-to-5 job just to pay for his fucking wife to spend all his money. He's going to be more creative. He's going to do creative things.
But neither is she.
She's most of the time.
That's the whole point.
Well, this is the thing. Women have a choice. They don't have to work. You don't have that choice, man. As a man, you don't have it.
We're going above this other thing right now. Like, that's the end result. Is that of truth? Is that the woman and the man can decide to love each other, decide to work separately, decide to work together, decide to have a child, decide to have a calendar. The calendar, that's all. My whole point was the calendar, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been fighting the calendar. That's my biggest enemy, is the human calendar.
Well,
You know, because
time is your biggest enemy because time runs out when
Yeah.
time
But
is your fucking enemy.
yeah, but I don't think about time. I don't sit there and go, oh, I got the diabetes now. When am I going to die or lose my foot? I don't give a shit. I never cared, man. I try and live day to day. But that fucking calendar, because even if you're not working full time, let's say for like a year, for 6 months, for who knows how long, and you don't have that work calendar, the calendar still dictates and makes you feel guilty for not filling up your time. So I
I
try and
do. I
make,
feel guilty when I'm not doing shit that more than
yeah,
ever.
yeah.
If I'm playing video games, I feel like I should be doing something more productive with my time because time is of the essence. I mean, again, you're only here for a finite period on this planet, you know?
Yeah.
Unless you're an artist, because you can leave your shit behind.
Well, the thing is, like, in relevance to MGTOW, look, a woman can actually, and this again, stuff that I've just finished reading is, yeah, women have a choice. They can go, you know what, I'm gonna let the man do all the work. I'm gonna let my husband work, and I'm gonna sit on my ass. She
Yeah,
can
but
do that.
women in the Western world don't have that luxury like they used to.
No, they don't.
Okay,
You're right.
because it's a different ball game now because of feminism, because of again we dropped the gold standard because now we live in a society of debt. We live in a usury society where we're borrowing based on the future, and now we're working to pay off. We're not even working to pay off the debts yet.
No.
We're not even at that point yet, which we can veer off later on in this stream about where we're heading as far as the debt goes. But women don't have that type of luxury, and again, now women are shooting for the stars for what they want to procreate with, where it's a very small, minute uh, male population that can provide what it is they want. Audi, house on the water, these things. Most 99% of the males cannot provide these certain things for them.
No, and I mean the second best thing for women nowadays, at least that I see, is they just get knocked up by somebody, and then
Right, and
get
then you have to
handouts.
factor in that feminism has now pushed women during their best years to find someone to settle down with to go in and work. Well, guess what, honey? You're 35 now. No one wants to fucking marry you anymore. And every time I try telling this to a young woman that I go, look, when do you plan on getting married or having kids? Oh, when I'm like in my 30s. That's not biology. Men, you're being lied to. Guys don't want to fuck a 30-year-old. We want to fuck an 18-year-old.
Mm.
No,
No what?
not every guy wants to fuck an 18-year-old.
Yeah, well,
Something that immature, that made of plastic and flesh, and just wants to like do what you tell
come
her to
come to
do.
Asia, then you'll be singing a different tune real
I
quick.
know. I
I
love
hope
it. I love it when men go, well, I don't want. I like to fuck 40-year-olds. I'm like, fuck
I
off.
know.
Hey, dude,
I have one friend who's 40. I'm showing pictures of
don't
the
put words
girls.
in
I
my
hope.
mouth. I
No, I
never
know,
said
but
I wanted to fuck a 40-year-old at all.
I
I
didn't
just
say
said
you did. I said I like it when guys do that. It makes me laugh.
well,
There's
you
a
make
lot.
me
I
laugh right now, chicken head.
had one friend who's the same age as you guys, and I'm showing him like some of the girls I was seeing while living abroad, and he goes, "What is she like 20?" And I'm like, "Yeah, she is. It's fucking awesome."
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I hear excuses from people too, from guys that'll go, well, older women are more experienced, and I'm like,
Oh
really,
God.
man? I'm like, really? If you had a 40-year-old snatch in your face or an 18-year-old, which one would you fucking take? Like, come on.
Exactly. Come
Not,
on.
but you can't define it to 18. Like myself, you know me. You actually know me, even though you were gone for a long time, came back. I've told you part of lots of my personal life, and you've known more than one of my ex-girlfriends.
Oh yeah, I
Now,
know, I know.
I've
I mean,
never.
I'm not necessarily talking about you, but
No, I know. I'm saying it. I'm age 44 right now. I have been single for 2 years, based on the situation with my kids. But my ex was 13 years younger than me. And then
Nice.
my ex girlfriend before that, she was 10 years younger than me. My ex before that was 9 years younger than me. And then I kind of, coming out of high school, I always did that. I didn't do it because of any reason. I just naturally, like when I was 19, I was dating a 16-year-old. When I was 25, I was dating a fucking 19-year-old. Like, I didn't do these things on purpose, and it kept getting. So my last woman, she was 13 years younger. We had 2 kids together, and so now I've never dated a MILF or whatever. Like, I've never dated a woman my age, or fucked a woman older than me or my age ever in the history of my life.
Oh, you're lucky.
Well, I don't know if I'm lucky. I just like it's kind of weird. When I was in my teens in the early 20s, I was hit on by lots of my friends' moms, and these are like women in their 30s and shit, and 35, 40, and I'm like, I never fell for it. I'm like, I just naturally didn't like old beef curtains.
Nobody likes old beef curtains, man. Nobody.
I just didn't like it.
But
I didn't like the faces.
Also, I think me and Nick talk about this because we spent a lot of time in Asia, so it's different. Like, guys in the West they'll kind of like, oh yeah, well, old women are okay because that's all they can fucking get in the West.
Yeah.
They go out to Asia and then they can pull 18-year-olds.
They can get something different, but they go out to these clubs and there's like some 65-year-old woman and you're 23 and she dances with you and you're both doing tequila shots. Next thing you know, you're fucking her. It's like, what the fuck happened to me there?
Well, the bigger question is what happened to the 65-year-old and why she's doing tequila shot and not making cookies for her grandkids.
Because she was raised in this feminist part of the world, and she's allowed to do it. She went through most of her life just raising her kids and helping the grandkids, doing some kind of odd job. And then the husband was never home because he was a trucker or something. And then now they're divorced, and she goes out as a senior looking for young cock, and she gets it all the time.
Holy shit, that's horrible. That's fucking horrible.
It happens everywhere. They're everywhere, dude.
I don't know. I don't go out, so I don't see them. So I don't know, man.
Well, yeah,
there's something really kind of creepy when there's a woman that's past 45 trying to act like a 20-year-old. There's a little bit of an offness to that, and I see it with the plastic surgery. Women wearing really tight, scandalous clothes at a certain age that they should not be wearing such clothes. There's a little bit of an offness to us, and you have to really think like that. I'm thinking she's not stable in the head if she thinks she's acting like a 20-year-old.
The Kardashians didn't just fuck up the States; they're fucking up Canada too, and probably Australia. Their whole way of life, and they're being put on. They're out there. All those Kardashian women. They're like the mom's like 65, her ex-husband's the Olympian who turned into a tranny. The grandfather's this. The 5 daughters are all pregnant. They're all married to rappers and divorced from rappers. And they're all fucking like dating people younger. It's all that's a fucked up family, man. Period. I don't talk about them at all, but I just did.
Yeah.
Dirty Kardashians, man.
Well,
that's you want to take out someone right away. Take those people out, and all of a sudden half the population will get back to normal.
Well, that's part of the social engineering. We're talking about the misandry in the media. There's a YouTube channel that I just discovered called the Forgotten Gender, and he was posting lyrics from Beyonce. Young women love Beyonce. They're obsessed with Beyonce. I was actually shocked to know that many young women like Beyonce. And I'm reading the lyrics, and he was reading the lyrics and discussing the hypocrisy in the lyrics that Beyonce quote unquote wrote, and about how much she doesn't need a man, another man that's just like you, and you're disposable. And young women eat this up. Up these lyrics, and what it becomes is you start to take on the persona of the music you're listening to, and it doesn't have to necessarily be Beyonce. It could be a guy listening to. It could be if you listen to punk music, you start dressing like a punk rocker. You start emulating the music you're listening to, right?
Yeah,
and I see that being part of the danger with these young women embracing certain characters.
And I bet you the large percentage of those girls listening to that music don't have fathers either. So there's no father to go, you know what, you're not listening to that shit.
Right.
Not fucking sap. But yeah, you were talking about misandry in the media. Have you watched any of Man Woman Myth yet? I think I might have sent you some in the past. Nick, you there? Hello?
Yeah, go on. Yeah, I'm listening.
Okay. Man, Woman, Myth. Have you listened to or watched any of those videos?
No.
Okay. But anyway, Let's go into misandry in the media. What did you want to touch on?
Well, the how in commercials, in sitcoms, we talk about King of Queens, Kevin James. He's always portrayed as a bumbling, stumbling oaf, a low IQ, blue collar idiot.
Yeah.
You talk about Ray Romano. He portrays Ray Barone. Again, this low functioning, idiot, whiny, disposable male. You look at commercials, how it's always the woman who's the moral authority, the one who straightens the mess that the man has created. You go to commercials
Bullshit.
and movies, how it's okay to hit a man, but it's never okay to hit a woman. And you see, I didn't notice how much there was of this until I viewed this person's channel, the Forgotten Gender channel, where it's Misandry and the media. If you type in Misandry and the media, there will be he's got like 50 of these type of fucking 15, 20-minute videos where he goes on and on and on with all these commercials of women abusing men.
Yeah, it's and you know what's funny is when I first found was kind of turned on to the misandry in the media. Um, it was amazing because there's this experience of you kind of unwashing your mind because you're so used to seeing it. You're so used to seeing it that you don't notice it. Do you understand what I
No,
mean?
you don't. I didn't notice it until, I love King of Queens. I'm a huge Kevin James fan, and I never really took it so literal because I actually do know a lot of guys that are like Kevin James. But being comical towards women like to laugh. I hope the whatever woman you're seeing likes to laugh. Otherwise, you're in a lot of fucking trouble.
Yeah.
But yes, even when I was in a relationship, I always acted immature. I always did these stupid little things to get a reaction out of her. But at the same time, I need respect because I'm just doing that as shits and gigs. That's not how I really am when I'm at work and stuff. And sometimes when I was with my girlfriend, she thought the way I acted around her in the house was the same way I acted when I was at work. And I had to explain to her, no, no, no. When I'm at work, it's a different person. I'm more
Mm.
professional. I'm more business oriented. Yeah, sure, I'll joke around and stuff. You can't take life so seriously, but at the same time, she thinks the way I'm portraying my relationship with her is the same way as I'm being when I'm out in public when I'm not around her.
Mm.
Okay, let's push pause on that for a second. We got a question from the chat from MGTOW.
Miguel.
He wants opinions on maintaining male relations. Many are blue pill and reduce interactions to phone call. What can MGTOW do to improve the relationship past their poor choices and commitments?
Well, you're talking about male relations, males having relations with other males. It's bloody important in my opinion. But um, try to spend as much time as you can in real time with your male friends. Anyway, you guys continue. I got to step off for a second. I'll be right back.
What were you saying before? Go.
What we're saying, just MG Howe wanted to know your opinion on maintaining male relations, and because many blue pill men reduce interactions to phone calls between their male friendships, and what can MGTOW men do to improve these relationships past their poor choices and commitments with other men?
Well, the older I get, the less friends, somewhat less friends I have, and I think that goes for the overriding majority of people. The older you get, the more you look at the negative personality traits of the people that you're surrounded by. So, since being back to the United States, I had two friends that I kept in touch with, and now I'm down to one because the other one's girlfriend doesn't like me because of what I say about her in private to my friend. My friend left his phone unlocked, or she knows the password. She got into the phone and read everything I was saying about
Oh
her. Now I'm
no!
not allowed to see him anymore. And
Well, of course not, eh?
right. So now I try to explain to him. I go, she's going through your phone.
Yeah.
Okay, she's invading your personal privacy, and she's viewing our conversations. And you're gonna side with her after I just showed you where she's wrong in going into your private conversations with me,
But
right?
even before that, those private conversations were infiltrated. This is the basis of what we're. I don't know when it starts when you're in grade three, like sharing and trust. and these power words that they use with us, when you can't even trust and share with your own family members all the time, let alone friends or other people's friends or relationship people that they're in a relationship with. It's like, but you have your own separate relationship with that other person, even though that person's in a deep relationship with this loving, trusting, perfect human being. You can't even tell a person what's really going on because you're watching them from the outside, and you call the woman out on something and she doesn't like it. So it has, regardless if she looked at his phone or not, she was already fucking thinking these things, and she could feel the difference in her partner, like your friends, like your ex-friend's partner. Like, she could feel the change in his ecosystem inside of him and his mentality. And then when she saw your words, she's like, "Oh, there's the devil.
Right.
There's
Correct.
the devil."
This is the one who's undermining me in my relationship with my boyfriend.
But it's not you. It's the movement. It's men. It's life. It's women. It's everything. But she's pointing the finger at you because that's her man, which is bullshit. Which is bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually your friend too. Like, a lot of people, a lot of men do this too with women. They want to own their time and own their souls, but that's not what a human being is. A human being has the potential to have a lot of great relationships and spread their time wisely to gain knowledge and to gain, to feel integral, to feel worthy, to feel necessary, and also to learn. Like, the more good people you have in your life, you can learn every day something new that doesn't come from the news.
Is that, were you guys still answering that question? MGTOW's
Yeah.
question? Okay.
Slightly, yeah.
Well, I want to kind of get back into the
Hey, good
mission.
night, Rico Champagne. Rico Champagne's got to go to sleep.
Okay, man, take care.
Rico.
That
Bye,
guy's
Rico.
he's the only guy with a wrench in our group.
Rico.
Oh yeah, he said some good shit.
Suave.
So I want to get into more of that misandry in the media, because I remember when I was first introduced to it, it was through a video of a series called Man, Woman, Myth. And I'm sure some of the people listening know who that is. He doesn't make videos anymore, but he's sort of like a MGTOW classic. He never really called himself MGTOW. He just put out the information. And there's an incredible video he did. I think it's called like the Invisible Man or something. I can't remember. But he gives examples from the media where it goes, if there is a disaster or men are injured or men are hurt, they never call them men. They call them people. Submarine goes down. Passengers, 25 passengers disappeared. Or they'll talk about victims of certain accidents or crimes, a person, an employee, firemen or fire people, or just, they don't say 5 men are victims of this crime. But when women and children are hurt, 5 women, 25 women, men, a bunch of, what did they call it when there was a bunch of refugees escaping from a war-torn country? Migrants swarming across the border, and hundreds of women. See, and men,
Yeah.
hundreds of women. And men are invisible. They're absolutely invisible. And he pointed these out case by case by case, and I went, holy shit.
Now, mind you, those videos he posted are from, like, I guess, pre-MGTOW YouTube era.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Yeah.
They're from like 2010, 2011. So I give this guy a lot of credit for him doing this way back when, you know?
Oh, yeah, man. I mean, it's absolutely incredible stuff, and you don't see it. Like, you're conditioned not to see it. But
well,
then,
look at that. When that Syrian boy died on the beaches of Turkey, they show his face down in the sand, and they kept showing that image over and over and over again to provoke women's emotions into letting more low functioning Muslims into white countries, you know. But if it was an African, some skinny African from fucking Niger, whose face was planted into the sand, dead and bloated, no one would give a fuck. Oh, it's just a dumb fucking black dude from Niger who's dead. Probably deserved it, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you show a little boy that's like semi-white, right? And that could have been my little Timmy dead in the sand trying to flee a war zone caused by my government, you know.
Yeah. It's really, it's because you were mentioning how they make men look stupid, and yeah, they do. Men are seen as buffoons, but they also don't even mention them when it's important. when they achieve something, or when they achieve something, they're nothing. When they're disposable and dead, they're invisible. They don't exist. It's really sad.
Right, absolutely. Again, a guy who, a war veteran. Again, I show Randy Shigart. Okay, you named a library after him. That's great, but you're taking away the fact of what he did was something. The bravery of him to sacrifice himself to save his fellow soldiers,
Mm-hmm.
or Curtis Martin, who played on a bone-on-bone knee condition for the betterment of his team. You don't discuss those things.
Well, and like Jacob Gibson in the comments said, men are invisible in the news if they do good or are victims, but as soon as the news talks about criminals, yes. When it comes to criminality, are men doing bad things, then they're men. They're absolutely men.
Well, that's what sells. Bad news sells. Good news never sells. Look at Fox News. Dun 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 dun. Alert alert. A Muslim was seen walking down a street.
A Muslim man. A Muslim man.
A Muslim man. Yeah.
It has to be a man. Can't be a person. Can't be a woman or a person. It has to be a man because he's doing something bad. So it's definitely a man.
This just in.
Man dies. He's not a man anymore. He's just a passenger.
Hey, look at those guys, the jihadists.
I'll tell you who's the passenger. The real passenger is the happy slave.
Well,
look at the jihadists in the Middle East, and you want to talk about disposable. I mean, do even these guys have names? Can someone tell me what? Can you tell me what village they're from in Saudi Arabia? Can you give me something? Instead, all you got these guys in black garb and beards. They all look the same. Allah Akbar! Like, wait.
Did they blow up?
He has a name, right? He has a name. Does he have a family?
He might
Can
have
we
a
find
pet.
out where he comes from? No, we don't care about that. Yeah. Do you remember Power Rangers?
No,
the show Power Rangers?
Yeah.
The putty people.
I don't remember the putty people, but
the putty people are these characters the Power Rangers fought all the time, and or think of the stormtroopers in Star Wars. All right,
Faceless.
Shoot him dead. He's disposable. Shoot another guy, disposable.
Yeah.
That's what it reminds me of when it comes to these jihadists. I'm like, these guys have names. They're from somewhere. Why don't we find out who they were, why they were doing this?
Don't say we. Don't say we should find out. In this world of ultra feminism, these really caring women that care about everything but their own Western culture men, they should be the ones asking that question. Well, what was Willie's name? He blew himself up for no reason. Where did he come from? Like, if they care so much about everything, they should be asking these questions and trying to be more diversified in their portfolios.
no, they don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
about
I know.
But I
know. That was my point. That was my point.
Yeah.
They don't give a fuck.
No. And I was laughing because of the most disposable man of all is the
jihadist.
The jihadist fucking
He's
bomber.
So disposable. He's fucking driving school buses fucking full of fucking missiles and C4 into buildings and fucking forts.
Holy Christ.
And
It's so true, man. No one talks about that disposable fucking Arab dude, huh?
And he's like, he comes into the jihadist school and goes, "Hi, my name's Ahmad." And they're like,
bomb number one.
they're like, "No, it's not." We're like, "What? We don't care what your name is, buddy. Just strap that fucking
Muhammad.
bomb in."
That's Muhammad with a U. Sometimes we get confused because Muhammad over here is Muhammad with an E.
It sounds funny, but this is the reality of certain cultures too. Like that culture, like you don't hear about there used to be some Japanese, like what do you call it?
Kamikazes.
Yeah, the same kind. It's the same kind of thing. There's only a few cultures. I mean, Africa has within its own continent or conflict. Within Africa itself and all the mini wars that are going on, they got 13-year-old, 40-year-old, 80-year-old men sniffing gunpowder and cocaine and going around a machine.
Oh, brown. They do that in Cambodia too.
With machetes, and all that shit. That's different than the jihadists, but it's still the jihadist at least has a choice. But most jihadists that are doing these self-sacrifice,
jihading,
what they're doing it straight edge. they're not doing it all fucked up on alcohol or all fucked up on pills and
Yeah,
shit.
they don't drink. They don't drink. They're
They,
not on
they do
drugs.
it. They do it based on this weird religious put upon imposed fucking false dichotomy of
Yeah.
like the actual truth about why they exist in their part of the country and how important they are as a people to the rest of the world and how their life means can change their life can change the shit. I think that's bullshit, man. The
Well, this is
individual.
why I believe in bombing the Middle East with those little fucking airplane bottles of vodka and pornography. I think that might lighten up the mood over there.
Hmm.
Well, they also get intimidated. Like a lot of them get their families get threatened, and everything else, because there's so many millions of people in this with per square foot that you're just like you can just you say, listen, I'll kill your sister and your mom if you don't fucking if you don't
Well,
fucking like carry this bomb.
this goes against, from what I understand about Muhammad, is this goes against everything Muhammad wanted. Muhammad, in order to get the guys to fight and everything, he realized that I can't be fucking all these women, even though I'm the alpha male of this group. I can't be fucking all these hordes of women. I got to give my boys some women also.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he realized, like, I am the top dog, but I should let the guys get some chicks too, or else they're gonna come kill me because I'm banging all the broads.
Hmm.
And
Yeah,
Muhammad did do that. He was like, I gotta, be a little socialist here, and here's a wife for you, here's a wife for you. Make sure you protect her, and you have a family and stuff. He wasn't like selfish in that regards, but these kings of the Saudi princes, they do the complete opposite. They hoard all the women,
Yeah.
and then tell the guys, the poor beta males, the jihadists, oh, it's America's fault.
Yeah.
It's the Jews' fault. You go and fight them. Meanwhile, I'm gonna bang all these fucking women, and you go make an idiot of yourself in Syria.
Yeah. Well, what's funny,
uh, the
interesting too, is
the
the whole concept in
the political
Islam of
guys are the worst.
well,
The men who choose the political value and they ride the fine line between the kings and the common people. They're right in between there, and they just hide in the political arena because they don't really have to go and fight, but they also don't have to have the responsibility of the fucking king. They're just the super white knights.
well,
That's how I look at it.
and the entire concept of polygyny in Islam. You can marry like four wives or whatever. The entire concept of polygyny is based around male disposability, and the reason was because the men were dying and leaving. The men were dying and leaving widows with children because they were fighting. I mean, obviously, 13th century Saudi Arabia probably wasn't the fucking safest place to live.
Right.
And so the concept of polygyny came up because there was not enough fucking men for the women.
Right.
So so Muhammad's like, well, if you want to have it take, if you want to take, he's like, look at all these women with kids and no husband. He's like, okay, if you guys want, grab one of these widows and help take care of their kids. Like, man up, take care of this
Hey,
widow and
and
her
get
kids.
yourself a nice Jewish slave on top of it too. So you get two women. You got a slave one who's inferior,
Mm-hmm.
right?
But
Well,
Western culture, and especially, I mean, some of the weirdest types of people, like in Canada, especially certain types of religions, like these sects that go off, these farmers, they have no they go right off the grid and shit. But they have like 8 wives per man. They marry their sisters and their brothers. They do all this shit. Um,
the
it
Amish.
seems
Are you talking about the Amish?
yeah, well, there's more than just the Amish, but
Mormons.
as a whole,
It's
as a
illegal in
whole,
America, by the way. I don't know why people keep thinking
no,
polygamy
but
is allowed in the United
No, it's
States,
as
but
a
illegal.
yeah, I get
whole,
it.
the Western culture has stolen that what you just described. I am there. That particular,
Polygyny.
that the way. Yeah, I mean, it's actually fairly respectable and fairly honorable to not be a white knight and to actually justifiably be like, okay, this man just died for our cause, so I'm going to raise his family for
Yeah.
him, and having a few other options because so many men are being lost. That's where it really starts. That's actually a very important point because Western culture has totally flipped that whole thing over and made it into this other thing. But then the perverts, like the white knight perverts that are actually doing this in these Western cultures and having all these wives and saying, "Oh, it's because I am the master, I am the man." It's like, no, you're supposed to be one of the men. looking over someone else's family, not just this master who has all these wives.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's bullshit. And the sultans and stuff like that in the East who
Ugh.
take on all these wives, it's odd because they could die. They could die at any moment too. The
Well, you
wives.
also have to understand that if you have a bunch of men in their early to late 20s not getting laid, and they're full of testosterone and hormones and what have you, they become violent, and that goes right hand in hand with the whole opium crisis and the legalization of marijuana. Is they don't want the white males of North America to get violent, so they're trying to make them docile by shoving oxycontin and weed upon them. So this goes hand in hand with guys, not getting married and not getting laid. Is that okay? So they're not getting married and not getting laid. Well, we don't want them to turn them into fucking jihadists like in fucking Syria. So how are we gonna tame this fucking animal that we're breeding at the moment? Oh, I got an idea. Let's fucking legalize marijuana and force heroin on them.
Well, I don't. I mean, the heroin's killing people though. Like that fentanyl shit. That
Well, yeah,
people.
but even better, even better,
Yeah, I guess so, eh? I guess it's even better.
even better.
They're out of the picture completely.
Right. So that's why they're doing that's what that's all about. As far as why you're seeing the legalization of marijuana, it's to make them docile because they're not procreating and they're not getting laid.
Hmm. Well, the thing is, well, I don't know. I mean, they're trying to legalize it in Canada, and Alberta's supposed to do it on the 1st of July. But I really don't see how people that don't smoke it now are suddenly going to become pot smokers just because it's legal. I really don't see that happening.
Well, it's making it mainstream. It's making it more okay. Now it's
True.
not taboo anymore. Maybe it won't change how many people are actually doing the drugs, but make no mistake, and I don't give a fuck what anybody has to say. Marijuana is in fact a fucking gateway drug. It really fucking is, because every person I know that started smoking weed at a really young age have moved on to harder drugs. I've seen it.
Oh
I
yeah.
can measure it. You know, I know one of my friends died of heroin. He started smoking weed when he was like 15 or 16 years old, and he dead at 25, 26 years old. So again, we don't even have to go with North America. I can go to Cambodia, where what does the government push? They push KTVs onto the young males. This way, there's an outlet for them to go to get drunk and meet women, instead of them fucking robbing fucking grandmothers and trying to overthrow the government. That's it. You don't want it. You don't want your men. Idle hands are the work of the devil, right? And you don't want, you take your aggression out. You take that all out of you by again getting laid.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, there's a guitar playing.
Okay, hold on a
Who's
second.
that?
I think it's hold on a second.
Is that you, AM?
No, it's not me. It's fucking Messenger.
Oh, oh, Messenger. What are you playing there?
You're supposed to keep talking. I was playing background music.
What's your favorite band?
Oh, regardless, I was like just making up my own Tool riff, just trying to play some background music. But my
Oh, you like
favorite,
you like the band Tool? Is that what
I
you're
don't,
saying?
well, I don't just like them. I've seen them 3 times, and I'm Canadian. But regardless of that,
Are they
um,
Canadian?
I play original music for the last 27 years. But no, they're not Canadian. I'm Canadian, and they don't come
Oh,
to
okay.
Canada. They don't come to Canada very often. I'm talking at all, man. Like, they rarely ever come to Canada. But I've
I
managed to
think they
see
got a, I think they got a couple Grammys under their belt. They're a legit band. I never listened to them. I
well, they're
never.
not. They're like 25 years of my life, legit, and they're one of my favorite fucking poetic bands of the fact, the truth. But
Who?
regardless, Tool,
Tool.
Oh, Tool. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
major
Okay.
people
key.
that listen to Tool are like it's like a cult following.
Well, it's a strange cult following, same as people who listen to Mariah Carey.
Oh, Mariah Carey's hot. She's from a couple
She's
towns
not
over from
hot.
where I am.
She's gross, dude.
Oh, I love it. I'd hit it all day.
Oh, she's so gross. She was gross as a young woman, and she's gross as a MILF or whatever.
Oh, you want to talk about how horrible women can be? She completely disowned her fucking family. Her sister's like half dead in an alleyway in New York City.
What?
Well,
Yeah, her sister's a crackhead.
Yeah, Carrie's also a narcissist. Let's not forget about that.
Correct. Yeah. 50 years old. She's fucking half naked on the New York Times Square for the ball drop for New Year's Eve.
Damn.
Yeah, same as Janet Jackson, man. Dirty old pussy.
I thought she
Speaking of Janet
was
Jackson,
part of a harem in the Middle
she's
East now.
decided to have a child at 50 years old. Here's another narrative that's obscure and not sensible, is that the push that women can have children after the age of 40. You can't have your first child past the age of 40. You die.
Yeah, that's dangerous.
You'll bleed out.
Well, and you have a really high chance of the kid being born with a lot of problems.
Yeah, being retarded or whatever. Yep.
Yeah. You definitely don't want to be trying to convince women that it's
Are you guys
okay.
there? Hello?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was while I was in camp. Yeah. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah. Go, keep going.
Hey, you sound heavy, bro.
Who, me or AM?
Both of you are heavy dudes.
Okay.
You sound fine.
Okay, go on, Nick.
The I was seeing a woman while I was in Cambodia, a white woman from middle of no man's land, America, and she has a daughter. And the daughter looks like her and everything, and there's no guy around, obviously, because I'm seeing her. And she was telling me about her daughter, and I assumed that she was a single mom because the guy left. And then she told me, "Oh no, I did the artificial eggs or whatever."
Okay.
And I was like, "What do you mean?" She goes, "Oh yeah, well I went to the sperm bank, and I decided to pick a sperm donor."
Really?
And I'm listening to this, and I'm like, how are you going to explain to your daughter that that's what you did to give her life?
Damn. Do they have surrogacy in Cambodia?
She's white, this woman.
Oh yeah, right. I mean, I know, obviously.
Do you think a Cambodian woman would actually do something that fucked up?
No. But
Exactly.
I mean, white women in Asia it's a horrible sight. It's just a fucking horrible sight.
Insemination, that's the word. Thank you.
Yeah.
Insemination. And she knows she messed up. You can see it written across her face. I don't need a man. I don't need it. I don't need, but someone please give me attention because it's like really hard.
Yeah, absolutely. What about surrogacy? Where do they have that in Cambodia, where you can pay a woman a bunch of money to have your kid, and then you can just take it away?
I don't know if it's in Cambodia, but they've just banned it in Thailand. It's illegal now.
God damn, man! They don't want to have men to have any chance. That's insane.
No. The women can't go there. Western women can't go there and do it.
No, but Cambodian women can.
I don't know about Cambodian women. This is mind blowing that women are trying to bypass men this hard by going to a sperm bank.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This is very, you're playing with nature. I don't want to say you're defying God, but you're definitely defying nature by doing these certain things. Like, talking to this lesbian, she goes, "Oh yeah, I'll have a kid. I'll do the insemination, and then me and my lesbian partner can raise the baby." So what essentially are you telling me? Is that men are not, you're denying men access to your pussy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is a form of aggression. As
Manipulation.
Far as I'm
It's manipulation.
and manipulation, right? So let's say if there's a war, do you expect me to go and fight for you if that's what you do? No.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Well, they do expect it, but that's where you kind of have to say no. But like,
women don't understand security until it's completely fucking gone, and that's what we're veering towards now.
Yeah.
Is that when you're walking down the street late at night and then you get fucking kidnapped or whatever, and there's no one there around to protect you, you chose this path by doing such actions and doing these type of things.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, that woman is in that position she's in because Guaranteed, because she supported the sort of feminist Marxist narrative. You know, that's what she thought was going to
Give
make
me
her
a
happy.
wrench.
Who needs a wrench?
No, I've never had a wrench. I don't even know what it
Oh,
is.
you want a wrench? You
I,
gotta,
I,
you
I don't
gotta.
even know what it does.
Oh, it makes you so if there's
What does it
people,
do?
you moderate the chat. So if we get like any trans or women in the chat, you can kick them out.
What?
Yeah,
That sounds like a lot of responsibility for a MGTOW.
it is. It is. So you probably don't want it.
Well, the big thing now, when I returned to, I've been away from Cambodia for 8 months, and I went there just to see my friends and stuff. I see a lot more. It's picked up now. There's a lot more young women looking for Westerners, but they're now going after Westerners that are much, 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 much older than the average fucking sexpat, and what is happening is men that are past the age of 55 now, divorced with huge disposable incomes,
Yeah.
are now just fucking giving an obscene amount of money to these young women, which is putting a huge damper on young guys, again, looking for wives.
No, you can't compete with the retired expatriate that's got tons of cash. No,
You can't.
no.
But these guys don't even live in these countries. They live in their home countries and then send money back Western
Yeah,
Union wise to them.
absolutely. Yeah.
Thousands upon thousands of dollars.
Yep. There's a lot of money being exchanging hands that way. Definitely.
It's huge. And what's causing this? They're divorced. That's the problem. So now you're putting a strain on the men in the lower rungs because your wife decided to leave you, fueling the problem.
Yeah. Well, again, I always come back to talking about MGTOW being a discipline, because you really do got to discipline yourself in the end. I mean, you don't have to be a part of that. You don't have to be a part of that system of throwing money at women. You don't have to do that.
Yeah, but if you're at that age, that's the only way you're gonna get fucking ladies, by throwing an obscene amount of money at them.
Well,
So a lot of the young girls I used to hook up with are gone. I go, well, where is she? What's she doing? Oh, some guy sends her fucking thousands of dollars a month now. So she's sitting on her ass doing nothing.
nothing. Yeah, of course.
She's just bringing in cash, probably eating food, and sitting around all day waiting for a paycheck from Tommy from fucking Perth, Australia, retired miner.
Yeah, absolutely. And he'll come.
Jesus.
But this was the point of marriage. This is the whole crux, and this goes back to what I was saying about Muhammad letting the other guys get wives. But because of divorce, you're putting a strain on not just young men, but young women also, which goes back to the behavioral sink, where it's one guy that gets to bang all the women, and the other guys have to fend for themselves or go MGTOW.
Yeah. Yeah, well, absolutely, man. Oh, MGTOW says there should be regular segments about expats, sexpats. Should be a thing in these chats, because it is fascinating, man. And I guess.
What do you want to know? I'm a PhD in it.
me and Nick.
Pats, like cucks pats.
Yeah.
I don't use the term sexpat at all. A sexpat is a guy who's there just getting fucking laid.
What you need
He's
to
got
do, brother.
He's got a problem. You want to talk about fasting? These are the guys that need to fast off sex.
Yeah.
We need to stop talking. We need to stop talking about women for a while in these chats, and only concentrate on ourselves. Straight up, man.
Yeah,
that's one thing. It's hard. It's
Well,
hard.
we don't talk that much about women. This is actually one we're actually dedicating to women.
Yeah, we actually don't do it that much.
I understand, but without the acronym or the noun or whatever it is, woman, the real MGTOW truth is like probably trying to push the experience of how to let without pushing an agenda, or trying to turn somebody against somebody or anything. It's allowing a young man or an old man, his mind and heart, to understand that he's important too. He's fucking important to not just
disposable.
Yeah, indisposable. Period. To himself. And enough of this giving away of the soul and giving away of all your time and all of your energy, because by being a better you, anyone around you is going to benefit from you more than if you're walking around, you know, down on yourself, unsure, uh, non-aggressive, just being a compliable piece of Play-Doh. Like, that's how it works with life. People follow people who protect them and nurture them and do it with seemingly no actual like, trying or whatever. Like you just do it because you have so much leftover confidence from being who you are. But the government's helping with keeping us down. So
Well, MGTOW's a hard sell, man, because like I said, it's not there. It does take discipline. It's a hard sell. It's a hard sell to sell anything that takes discipline to anybody. And again, men are very happily enslaved. They're happily enslaved to gynocentrism. They're happily enslaved to the state, and they find value in being subservient. So it's not easy, it's definitely not easy. I've it's still it's the journey for me also. Like it has been for years now. Like it just keeps going and going. There's a
Well,
lot.
again, I think the older you get, you guys are, 15 years older than me.
Yeah,
It's obviously much easier to not think about women nearly as much versus a 20-year-old.
yeah.
So the person you're really trying to sell it to is someone who's 20 something, 20 something years old, not getting a happy.
Hmm.
no, but it's not about thinking about the woman. I mean, you can think about whatever women whenever you want and all that stuff. It's actually putting your life on pause and doing everything for somebody else to make sure before you check your own happiness, you got to make sure that they're happy first, and all this other stuff that they're taken care of first. That's not reality when it comes to like being horny. Like if all men are horny, all women are horny, blah blah blah. So the real excuse hides in the soul. It's like loneliness has nothing to do with physicality. It's in the soul, man. Like if you're a social person, then it doesn't matter if you're in a relationship or you're fucking a woman, because I'm actually interacting with human beings and everything's perfect. I don't need to fuck somebody to feel like that I'm actually getting off on my biological rock or whatever, because my clock's always ticking. I can always get off. Can always get off.
Yeah.
Love is a different thing. Love is different.
Well, the problem, I'm a relatively social person. Now, the problem I bump into is that most people don't share the same depth of knowledge as me, right? I mean, me doing these talks with AM, this is the best stimulating conversation I had of the past, since the last time we had a chat, right? So the problem becomes is where do you find the people that share the same value system as you, that are kind of aware of the situation, regardless if it's MGTOW, it could be history, could be anything.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
becomes a little bit hard finding the same group of guys that have the same system or think the same pragmatic type thinking that you may have. Again, the Super Bowl's tomorrow. Okay, all right, I get it. Everyone wants to talk about the Super Bowl. I don't care so much about the Super Bowl, but I guarantee you there's going to be tens of millions of guys watching the Super Bowl tomorrow,
I don't really like
Not just
right?
football, so
not just watching it, interacting with each other, high fiving, feeling sexy, feeling powerful, even though it's not even them on the field. It's like, what the fuck?
Right, that's stupid to me.
yeah, I'm not into that either, man.
I like the sport.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
know enough
exactly.
about it to engage in a conversation with it, but watching sports or playing video games is the closest thing you can achieve to being dead, really. And even the stupidest person can have a stimulating, critical thinking conversation when it comes to sports. Even the dumbest person can sound like an intellectual when he's discussing who's playing in a Super Bowl tomorrow, right? Well, Tom Brady, this is his eighth Super Bowl in the past 16 years, and he lost, and then he threw this amount of yards. Again, anybody can regurgitate these type of statements. Discussing, the disposable jihadist is it's a little bit more thought provoking. Is
Well,
a little
that's
bit
the
more
whole
thought
point.
provoking,
That's
right?
why we're on YouTube. That's where we're on the fucking YouTube, man. It's like it doesn't matter who you go to. Like any one of us could walk to a university tomorrow, like in our town or our city. Just go to a university. You're not enrolled in the program, and you just go knock on a classroom door. You find the history teacher or something, or some kind of a professor, and you're like, listen, I'm just a random guy. I just came on off the street. I only want to have one conversation. I don't want to pay for my education. I'm 30 years old, but can you please tell me about the disposable jihadist? And they'll be like, instead of like going, okay, sure, I'd love to. They just realize at that point that they've been teaching history for fucking 30 years and never once talked about the disposable jihadist. That's how
See, I
fucked.
love that's more my, as much as I like, bitching and moaning about fucking white women, I love war history. I love, discussing different cultures. I love these type of conversations. I think the last conversation we had when you were sawing logs, AM, we were discussing about the we always talk about the best and brightest of civilizations, but we never talk about the negatives or the flip side to the civilizations, which is each country's and nation's savagery,
Right.
right? And I
Yeah.
thought that was a great topic we were discussing. And we can talk about that again.
Yeah.
You
Let's
know,
let's let's talk about that
that,
again.
well, you know a little about Indonesia. Can you share a little bit about what you know about the Indonesians' history, their military, how they were able to expand to different islands?
Well, Indonesia is kind of it's a history of occupation. I mean, it was the Dutch for 300. It was the Portuguese for 100 years. It was the Dutch for 300. Then the Japanese came in World War II, um, and were brutal. And then the atomic bombs dropped, and they got their independence in whatever year that was, 46, 48, whatever. But it's brutal, fucking brutal history, very brutal. A lot of
Well, what about Now, what about East Timor? Did you find that to be what is it called when it's two religions fighting?
no, no, no. It wasn't. That wasn't.
Sectarian violence?
No, that wasn't religion at all. That was
It wasn't.
no, that wasn't religion at all. That was the Indonesian military being used by foreign
My boy
corporations
Kissinger.
to clear out. There was oil. They found oil. It was horrible too. The
What,
Indonesian,
off the coast?
yeah, hmm and so it wasn't part of Indonesia at the time. So they needed Indonesia to annex the island and take it over, and they went in and just full on slaughtered everyone, like massacred, genocide, man, fucking sick.
But East Timor is still a country, though. It survived. It's
Yes.
still the only Catholic country. Besides the Philippines, it's still the only other little Catholic country in far Asia.
Well, there was definitely bias. Obviously, I mean, it was a lot easier for a Islam majority military to go in and slaughter Christians. Obviously, yeah, for sure. I
I mean,
mean,
that's a given.
yeah.
Well, what's happening now, since I was in Cambodia, is China is now completely taken over Cambodia, and the Cambodians are starting to realize that they have a fucking serious problem on their hands. And it seems that history is going to repeat itself. That once it becomes a satellite puppet state of China, the Khmers, the Cambodians, are probably going to turn to either neighbor country for support. Uh, uh, to bail them out of the situation that they
Who
just got invaded by China, Cambodia.
who are they going to turn to? Do you think?
We're hoping. I'm hoping the Thais, because there's at least some compatibility there, and they have a closer relationship with Thailand, just based on cultural. They're not going to turn to Vietnam because Vietnam's more. It's more Oriental,
Okay.
So I'll regurgitate what I said during the last live stream. I was watching a documentary with my brother and my mother, my brother and my mother, and we were discussing about the Japanese, what they did in that King. We discussed about what Germany did to Eastern Europeans. We discussed what the Soviet Union did to the Ukraine during the Holodomor. My mother made a great point. She said, "Do you know who's the most dangerous, male on the face of this earth?" And me and my brother were like, Who's the most dangerous person, or the most dangerous country, or I forgot what we were saying, but something of that matter." She goes, a white male that has nothing to lose is the most frightening fucking person on the planet Earth.
Geez, I don't know. I mean, I've
Well,
seen.
think about, we were talking about Killdozer, Marvin Haymaker. Here's a guy who,
Oh right, yeah.
Marvin Haymaker. Everybody look up Killdozer. Just drop that into
It's
Google
incredible.
search.
It's
No, but
incredible.
It's an incredible story.
the white male's not being profiled like any other. And I'm not a racist person at all. But we're not being profiled the same way in society. We're starting to, but not quite at that level where, if you
Oh,
mention
we are.
no,
We
no,
are.
no. I understand that we are, but not in that other way where it's like, okay, instantly because he's a white guy, then he's got to be guilty of these crimes. I'm not from the States where in the inner cities and stuff, it's not just blacks, it's whites, it's Hispanics. There are all the gang crimes and stuff and all the bullshit that goes on. You get all these people pointing fingers at a certain type of person. But in Canada, where I'm from, it's like it's a free pass to get a few steps further on any level without being fully like what do you call it, like demonized, except in family law. That's one area where it doesn't matter what color your skin is when you're
Hmm.
fighting for your own family or something, or in a divorce or something. Then suddenly it doesn't matter your skin color. If you're a man,
Yeah,
you're a
you're
piece of
fucked.
shit.
You're fucked. Hey,
Yeah, but
quickly.
my mother was trying to.
Wait, let me just
Sorry,
quickly.
go on. Yeah.
I'll just do quickly a side note here. MG he says, check out Suriname. Just wanted to say, man, South America is interesting. Has an interesting link to Indonesia because that's usually where the corrupt politicians and bankers flee to, so they don't get arrested.
Suriname? Where's
Suriname,
Suriname?
it's a country in
In Africa?
South America. South America.
Oh, it's above Brazil, right?
Yeah. Anyway, that's
Yeah.
just a side note. Okay. Anyway, go on, Nick. What were you saying?
What my mother was trying to get at is that if a white Christian male pays his taxes, goes to church, plays by the rules, plays by the book that's been given in front of him by the powers that being, only to get fucked in the end, is the most dangerous individual because it's a little bit of the falling down effect, right? So Marvin Haymaker, Killdozer, is a prime example of what a white male can achieve. Here's a guy who had a muffler shop, and the town council decided to rewrite the rules and regulations on him, so he's unable to have his muffler shop anymore. That's his way of surviving. He doesn't know anything else other than how to fix cars and fix mufflers, right? So what did he do? He bought a bulldozer and jerry rigged it
Turned it into a
to
tank.
make it, and turned it into a tank with guns and a PlayStation controller that was able to operate it. And as he's building it, he documented him building this thing. And he says, "You guys are so fucking stupid. I'm building this monster machine in your own backyard, and you don't even notice it." He was so smart about how to design this thing that he covered the outside of the Killdozer with motor oil, so any cop that tried grabbing a hold of this thing, they would slip right off. Now, when he went on his rampage in his city, he didn't kill a single person, but he went after the buildings and other businesses that wrecked his own business.
Yeah. He plowed through them, and it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. It was like totally
Yeah,
bulletproof.
there was another guy who crashed his fucking his airplane into the IRS building in Texas as protesting against taxes. But again, it's just these single individuals that are doing it, and what the government does is they downplay, so the average person doesn't catch on why did these guys act the way they did. Same thing that happened in that Oregon standoff with the ranchers. Same situation. It was a huge land grab by the government, and all these guys said, "You know what? Fuck this. We're going to be protesting it."
You want to talk to us? We'll talk to them.
Yeah, that was
Trying to intimidate them with talking to you. It's like I've
What are you saying?
what are you saying there? Are you there?
Yeah, sorry. I just went to the fridge to get a beer, and I was like talking to myself about who knows what. I just forgot to turn my mic on mute.
Oh, okay.
Well, there's a whole story behind it and why they did those type of things. Well, why did they act in these behaviors? So eventually, when the episode, the rampage ended, the government took the Killdozer away and disassembled it. And the reason why they disassembled it so quickly was they didn't want other white men to get a piece of this,
Yeah.
and for him to be a martyr against patriots. I mean, the man's a patriot.
Yeah.
And you don't talk about disposability. That guy was. But was he correct in his actions? I happen to agree with why
Yeah.
he did those type of things. It was an injustice. And what did he say? His probably my favorite quote of any individual of all time was Marvin Haymaker.
Mm-hmm.
He said, "Sometimes reasonable men have to do unreasonable things."
Did they kill him?
He committed suicide when his bulldozer got stuck.
Oh, okay. God damn, man. Men killing themselves. You've heard about the father. I don't remember his name now. If anybody in the chat remembers, a father who was basically his life destroyed by the family court system that set himself on fire in front of the courthouse.
Yeah, I don't know his name. Fuck him.
Still, I mean, killed himself.
Or Martin Short. When we talk about Martin Short, and I think that was one of the live streams we had to delete. Martin Short was a guy who killed his family and lit his house on fire because his wife decided to go lesbian after their daughter survived a heart transplant. So he spent millions of dollars, probably lost his job. He made a great sacrifice for his children, for his child, only to find out that his wife met another woman in the hospital and decided to go lesbian on him.
Son of a bitch.
That sounds like a sweet paycheck.
Yeah. Well,
you come home, your grandma's like, "Sorry, I've gone tranny."
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm a man. I'm your grandpa now.
And you're like, "What the fuck?"
Now, this segues into what I just sent you about this feminist CEO in Silicon Valley, the CEO of Foursquare. Do you still happen to have the quote that she said on UAM?
Hold on. Let me go. I think I have it up here.
Yes,
It's
Barbara
long.
Gates.
It's long. It's okay. Melinda Byerly. That's the lady, right?
Yeah, go ahead, read it for us.
Okay, I'll
What
read.
a sweet name.
I'll read Melinda Byerly. If you see a picture of this, Google her and check her out. She's horrible. She looks horrible.
Say her name again. Let her say it again.
Melinda Byerly. So Melinda Byerly.
Wonderful.
Fat, middle-aged,
Yeah, feminist.
cropped hair. Everything that MGTOW hates, she's the embodiment of.
Why don't we talk about after I am done with this quote? Let's talk about women past 45 or even past 40 now in Canada who get men's haircuts. Why?
Okay, we could talk about that phenomenon. All right, let me read. I don't know. Is this the quote you were talking about when I read it to you before? Goes,
That the Middle
America,
the Midwest is full. Yeah, that's it.
Okay,
read it.
I'll read it to you. Melinda Byerly says in a tweet, "One thing Middle America could do is to realize that no educated person wants to live in a shithole with stupid people, especially violent, racist, and or misogynistic ones. When big corporations think about where to put call centers, factors, development centers, etc., they also have to deal with the fact that those towns have nothing going for them. No infrastructure, just a few bars and a terrible school system. So if you want jobs, clean up your act and make your own town a place that people like us want to live. Add fiber internet, make it to a
like us.
Yeah, like us. Of
us.
course, that's us and them. Add fiber, make it a point to elect a progressive city council and commit to not being bigots. I guarantee many of us would like to live a more rural lifestyle, or at least a less urban one, but we won't sacrifice tolerance or diversity to do so. We especially don't.
She had to throw the D word into that, huh?
Absolutely. We especially don't want to live in states where the majority of residents are still voting for things that are against their own interests just because they don't want brown people to thrive. The Midwestern towns that fix this first will attract investment in droves. It's not just tax breaks and fiber. Corporations have to deal with the fact that their best and brightest would rather scrape by in San Francisco than live in a huge house somewhere if it meant dealing with bigots and backwards ideologies. This woman has probably never been to the Midwest.
She's from there, actually.
What? Are you serious?
I am serious. I am serious.
I am serious. So, okay, so the woman, she's the CEO of what? Foursquare?
Foursquare, I think. Yeah.
There's an image of her in front of a Nazi flag. I don't know what the hell that's from.
Oh, you went to Google Images. Yeah, if you clicked on that, it'll be some some forum ripping on her.
Okay. So okay, what about this woman besides that shit? I
Well,
mean,
first of all, Trump's narrative is bringing good jobs back to America.
of
She's
course.
rebutting, saying we're not going to put these jobs in these locations because you know what, you're just a bunch of white people, racist white people, right? That's
Damn.
what she's saying,
Not
right?
you're not like us
So,
San
she's in fact
Franciscoans.
she's saying we're gonna hurt uh, people in other states because you don't agree to our narrative, which is again is the progressive communist new world order, social justice, LGBT agenda.
Yeah. Holy shit. So this woman figures that she's got a little bit of pull, and she's like, "Hey man, I can affect hiring and firing and job production, etc. So I'm just gonna tell all you people in the Middle America that you're a bunch of racist cunts, and we hope you just die."
Right. So she's saying you could, why don't you scrape by, be a rat on a wheel, living in San Francisco, paying $5,000 for a 400 square foot apartment, working for me,
Yeah.
than you living on a plot of land, minding your own business, being relatively peaceful, not bothering anybody, and we won't give you a job. But I'll give this little slave in San Francisco who has to toe the diversity New World Order narrative instead.
Ugh.
Right. And this is also something that a guy who I love a lot, Joel Cocken, discusses, is about how these Silicon Valley, Google, Apple, right, Yelp, Facebook, these corporations don't have to abide the same regulatory contradict not contradictions, but the, these corporations, again, the ones that are in Silicon Valley, they don't have the same regulations that, let's say, an oil company does. They don't have to abide by any type of environmental regulation, land regulation. These computers that they use are basically servers, right? They don't require that much energy, and they don't get taxed nearly as much as, let's say, a farmer does. So Facebook and Google don't really pay taxes, or Amazon for that matter. They don't have to pay nearly as much taxes as someone who is a farmer. And these corporations, it's like a tech oligarchy is what I want to call it.
Right.
Jeff Bezos, I mean, he's an oligarch in a sense, right? He's buying up all these other, not mom and pop, but what did Amazon just buy recently?
Oh,
A food chain store, correct?
I think so. Yeah.
Whole Foods. Whole Foods.
Yeah.
They bought Whole Foods, right? So these software developers, Microsoft, they have much more bigger disposable income versus, let's say, Exxon or Shell or BP,
Right.
and they're taking over. They're the new not high priest, because I used that term previously in one of our episodes, but they're able to able to circumnavigate a lot of rules and regulations versus, again, an oil company or a farmer.
I just shared screens with you guys. Check it out. Just click on my name.
What am I clicking?
Click on my name.
Oh yeah, I see it.
Oh yeah, okay, cool. So you understand what's becoming of someone such as this woman and her
Those are
position of
white
power.
slaves. Those are white slaves, dude.
Where in America?
On my screen.
Yeah, I know.
There's thousands of them, but those are just two of them.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, you can get in the hypocrisy of the left, but anyway, what were you saying again, Nick? The what?
I was just reiterating that the what this woman that's in power, she's able to dictate more versus another business or another large corporation that's constrained from certain rules and regulations versus something from Silicon Valley.
Yeah, they don't have as many regulations.
They don't need no, and they don't pay taxes either. But again, here's a woman telling you, white man, mind you, she's white, that you're a white racist anti-diversity bigot. and I'm not going to provide jobs to your neighborhood because you don't have the same value system as I do.
Yeah, but this is the thing. A lot of these companies too, their politics influence their business choices, their partisanship.
Their, their politics influence their business.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Well, okay. For example, okay, let's take Twitter. It's a huge company. They now, like my account now, I'm chain blocked, right? Which means that
What is? Mm-hmm.
it means that because I have a certain political leaning or let's say opinion, right? That Twitter doesn't allow me to respond to certain people. You see what I'm saying?
You're the only dude that I know that's been blocked on every internet fucking thing portal in the world. Like I got lots of internet shit going on, but I've never been blocked from anywhere. And I'm a pretty strong, but the shit when I go on, you know,
But AM's voice is much bigger.
it's not because he's wrong. It's like there's just you push those boundaries, which are the same boundaries that make us all happy slaves. Like you're trying to fight for the people. I understand that.
Well, Twitter is a leftist company, and they wear their political leaning on their sleeve, and it shapes their policies. It shapes who's going to have a voice on their platform. Like they're unabashedly admit it. Like, hey, if you like Trump and you keep talking too loud, we're going to fucking block you. It's real simple.
Well, what's scary is, did you see that thing about Twitter getting caught not letting people tweet? That only the people that tweeted can see their own tweet. No one else can read it.
No one else can
read
read
it. See that recently?
Yes.
Right.
This wasn't a problem. It's net neutrality. This whole net neutrality thing is going to fuck a lot of people over, and these companies are going to be able to do exactly what you're talking about.
Well, they already are doing it. They're already doing it.
I know. Well, they started doing it 10 years ago. It wasn't like this. 5 years ago, it wasn't.
Well, there was no Twitter 10 years ago, but.
Well, don't say but. I'm saying all the platforms, they're all going to be like controlling the content a lot more than they are now, because that net neutrality thing just got passed in the States, which it's going to bleed out into every other place once again. And then,
well, what I found very disturbing when it came to that Twitter situation is who were the people that were able to do the blocking and able to dictate who gets to say what and who doesn't. It's
Exactly.
not the CEO. It's foreigners.
It's people that work for them. It's their employees.
Right, but who are they? They're not Americans.
Probably not.
They're from India.
Yeah,
They're the ones on H-1B1 visas. Even people who don't share the same value system as you, they get the jobs in America, and now they're forcing the leftist narrative onto the general population of people that are not their own citizens.
Well, every social media platform that is big today is left leaning, absolutely, and they'll censor you if you. I mean, you don't even need to be reported by a human being. They have algorithms that can read your tweets or your posts or see the pictures you post and just immediately just block you. The computer can do it now.
Well, I had a Twitter account briefly, and I tweeted something. This is during that time when Obama was letting the children by the busload through the border. Remember that whole conversation I had with you?
Yeah.
Okay, so I tweeted. It was right at the peak of that. I tweeted back to some advocate group or whatever. I'm like, yeah, let the child with foot and mouth disease from Guatemala into the country so he can infect the rest of the general population with his diseases, or something to that effect is what I tweeted. And it got retweeted 70 times and favorited or liked or whatever another 80 or 100 times. That was the most retweeted and favorited thing I ever stated. Then I started looking up at who favorited and liked what the tweet I wrote, and it turns out it was other bots. It was other. Assume it was government.
Yeah.
Which really scared the shit out of me, and I deleted my Twitter account right after that.
Yeah, it's frightening, man.
It scared the crap out of me.
Social media is pretty frightening. It's like, and kind of the people that are controlling it. I mean, it's a double-edged sword, the internet, because it's wonderful to kind of have this medium to share
Well, the good
experiences.
thing about Trump is that what you've done now is make those people, such as myself, louder.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
That's what you've done,
yeah.
right? And I use the Battle of Britain as a prime example of what the Germans were trying to do to the people of England. The idea was if we just kept bombing them over and over and over again without actually invading the mainland, we can break their spirit and their hope. But guess what? That completely backfired on them. As and Winston Churchill said during the Battle of Britain, "We'll never give up. We'll never surrender," or something to that effect. And it 100% worked in England's favor in the long run. That
Right.
you're not going to break someone's spirit doing these type of things. You're just going to aggravate them more and piss off the general population even more. And if you look at what the Grammys, the Grammys had their lowest rating in like 10 years.
Yeah.
25% drop, which means not only just white Americans aren't watching you anymore, that even other ethnic groups and other races that live in America are turning it off also, because even they are waking up to what the shit you're pushing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just even Trump being the president is evidence of something happening.
Well, but look, Trump was at the Wailing Wall before he stepped foot in a church.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay, which is not a good sign,
No, no,
regardless of anything.
no, no.
Right.
Well, look, we got. I think we'll do another 10 minutes, and then I'll have to shut it down. Is there anything you guys want to discuss?
No, that's good. Is there something that you wanted to touch up on?
No, not for this chat. We've been going 3 hours. Thanks everybody for watching. We guys, after we shut off the stream, we can keep chatting. But anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. It's good to hear
Hey,
you.
nobody asked me if I had something else to say.
Well,
But
yeah,
you're drinking beer and playing your guitar.
I'm the wolf. I was playing my guitar an hour ago.
Okay,
man.
so what do you want to say, man?
Yeah,
I
that's
got
all
10
right.
minutes. Let's wrap it up.
Yeah, discuss, talk, man.
All right. I'm feeling good. I'm looking good. I hope all you people are out there loving yourselves and feeling good. No one needs to slit their wrists tonight. Peace out.
Okay.
Are you gonna watch the Super Bowl tomorrow? Is the bigger question.
Absolutely
I
not.
don't. I haven't had a TV in 12 years. I don't own a TV.
Oh, what are you like? You're really nomadish, are you?
Well, no. I mean, I could watch it on my computer. I just decided that I don't need to have an iPad, an iPhone, a TV, and a computer. So I just have a computer. Like I don't have TV. I haven't had a TV forever. Like my last two relationships with women, my last one, 6 years, produced two children, and I never allowed a TV in the house. I'm like, we don't watch TV here.
Mind
And then,
control.
yeah, that's the only thing I asked. I said, you can do whatever you want, just no TVs.
Do you check do you check your pH levels in your water too?
Well, my teeth are black, so something's already wrong.
What
Something's already wrong.
do the filings in your molars tell you to start killing people?
Picks up
Yeah.
radio signals. Well, okay, guys.
Do you pick up radio signals?
Just to finish off here, before we go, MGTOW Warrior. Yeah, when Truth Messenger messaged about women cutting their hair short, I just wanted to kind of sign off with this. Women in countries where that wear hijabs that cover their hair, the reason they do it is because they're too lazy to wash their hair. So the next time, it's disgusting. The next time you see a woman wearing a hijab, just know that if she pulls it off, it'll be just this ratty, stinky mess. Anyway.
So what? She's gonna smell like hummus and grape leaves.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's fucking horrible. It's just like, I don't want to do my hair today. I'm just gonna wrap it in a towel.
True.
Fuck it.
In the Western culture, though, after age 45, like my mom and her three sisters, like I was raised by my mom and her three sisters, and that's not their fault. It's not my fault. But they've all and they were like 68 years old now, 65, 68, and they all have men's hairdos. It's not just them. There's tons of like young women are doing it now too. They're like, I'd rather look like Bobby than like Sue.
Yeah.
So good night, people.
It's a I know we want to end it, but now we're actually getting back onto something. It's a self-defeating behavior. is what's taking place. Is that, it's a form of aggression. It's a form of, I'm gonna make myself ugly and not sexually appealing to try to be on an equal playing field with you.
Yeah.
And it's strange because I've been a bald man. Like I had my hair shaved bald from my 20s until my 30s. I always had a bald head, like Billy Corgan from Smashing Pumpkins or whatever. And then, but in the last 10 years, I've been growing my hair out. I now have a long Scottish, like, I don't know, 3.5 foot long Scottish hairdo. And I feel proud and I feel strong. I wash it every day. It takes time. It takes nurturing. And I'm 44 years old. But anyone that I'm dating, like if I can't date a woman with a short hairdo. Like if you want to cut your hair short when you're 35 or 40 years old, you should. Anyway, the hairdo says a lot, man. The appearance, like what's wrong with hair? Hair is wonderful.
Well, here's something. If you want to know if a woman's attractive, picture her bald, and is she still attractive with no hair? And that'll tell you if a woman's beautiful or not.
All right. Well, anyway, on that note, guys, we're going to sign off. Thanks for watching.
Yeah.
We'll see you again next week. Maybe
Tarico wants us to end.
Yeah.
Tarico's saying, I thought you all were signing off, but it just keeps going on and on and on.
Okay.
You know what, Tarico? Why don't you get your own fucking stream? You got a problem with it.
All right,
Piece of
guys.
shit.
Take it easy.
Tarico.
Yeah, we'll talk to you guys next week. All right, and I'm
All
gonna
right.
be staying awake from now on for these streams. So we'll see you soon. Bye.
So he says.